Tape Never Lies Network.
The tape never lies. Tape never lies.
Starts now.
The tape never lies.
Draft Dr. Phil and the smartest man.
Keeping it 100.
Keep it 100.
So chase greatness and start understanding that he's gonna make everybody better.
The tape never lies.
I don't want to see your tape breakdowns if you cannot show me things that are negative about a guy that's on your current team.
Hashtag chase greatness. Hashtag take that.
Keep it 100.
Because I'll make this one more time clear. Caden Whitlow, cut it.
Keeping it 100.
He is the best quarterback I have ever scouted on tape.
The Chicago Bears select.
Guess who's back? The two dudes that kept it real. Dynamic duo that you love, the smartest man at Dr. Phil. Breaking down the film, never a problem, kick it straight. Most shows focus on stats, we focus on the tape. We keep it in 100, never running east or west. We coming with that truth, cause that's what our fans expect. Cut off the breaking anchor, moving forward to be free. But don't you worry, Shane's got the dumbest tweets. It ain't no secret, Phil and Shane got some haters. But now they're moused up like the true and now and latest. Debaters, frauds get kicked like Coach Tabor. Cuts had to be made, we added a barber moderator. Up and down, boys got you double checking. Sad sack strolling like a fool drunk texting. Flexing on the truth cause you know they'll never change. Real, recognize real, that's what you get with Phil and Shane.
Give me some fucking names. Wait, 2 fucking games?
Fuck a play or a captain, all of the upstairs. The tape never lies, the truth you see. We laugh, we analyze, so there's no babies like Maybelline. Straight to the truth with acumen and facts. We got a stat nerd, but he's not just giving nerd stats. Car crash, big impact like trip sack. Every Wednesday night you got the smartest man Phil back. Now we know you're smiling like a fat kid with fun dip. We're back better than ever and we keeping it 100.
Keep it 100.
Draft Dr. Phil and the smartest
Keeping it
man.
100.
Keeping it 100.
Keeping it 100.
Draft Dr. Phil and the smartest man.
Keeping it 100.
Down there. I don't know if that right foot actually touched the ground.
Keep it 100.
Keeping it 100.
Yeah, exactly. No, yo, no, coach.
No, coach.
I think Cherie and Ivan have not finished their interviews with the Chicago Bears yet. That's why they're
That's the reason.
holding out on us, Phil.
They're holding out.
Cherie is busy.
Give me some fucking names. Give this.
We don't need any more names, man.
You got a lot of names.
Got a lot of names.
Got a lot of names.
Yeah, it is what it is. I think it's. I don't even want to say the process is nauseating. I'm nauseated by the fucking fans' reaction to every morsel of information that comes out. Like they're just sitting there reacting to fucking everything. I'm like, holy shit. It's crazy. In season something. Oh, I'm not going to listen. You know, fucking media sucks. They don't know what they're talking about. And Bears are interviewing Jack Black. Oh, if they interview this guy, we're fucked. Can't believe we're interviewing Jack Black. You know, it's holy fuck.
I'm for the large net.
Me too.
And I'll
You can't
tell you
hire anybody right now anyway.
exactly. I also want to say why. You're talking about an organization that has dropped the ball more than any receiver that they overdrafted. Valus and Josh Bellamy have less drops than the Chicago Bears when it comes to the coach. So if you're going to do the process the right way, you're going to gather all of the information.
And Vrabel didn't want to be here, obviously, right?
Well, let's look at Vrabel. We'll start there. Because I have never been so smart in my life. Just haven't.
Flip that, Jack.
Every single time I've looked at the coaches.
I'm not smart.
I can tell. I know he can't, but I can. The shoe salesman. I've called it out. I know what a coach is. I know what the tape tells me that this coach and his staff and his culture is teaching the right way. Who that is has never been hired here. We've always brought in guys that have never been a head coach on any level, or they're a hot name that is fitting. I don't care if that's one piece, but it's fitting a McCarthy culture. We have single-handedly scratched off people, not us, but fans and media, based on a guy's personality. Oh, the McCarthy, they'll never hire him. That's a problem. It's a fucking problem.
You're a bigger fan of Mike McCarthy than I am. I'm not dead set against Mike McCarthy, but let's be honest. There's people that don't want Mike McCarthy because he's an overweight, frumpy-looking guy, and it doesn't go anywhere beyond that. That's the point that we have entered as Bears fans with some people. I saw a fucking tweet last night or today that was comparing Mike McCarthy's looks to Arthur Smith's looks, and this is what we've come to, Bears fans. I'm like, it's just the fucking the media and drama queens like Dan Orlovsky are no different than the way that 90%.
Jack, I need a Dan Orlovsky drop. Ivan ain't doing it. Ivan's like Jackal. He ain't doing shit. We got to get a Dan Orlovsky drop. Anytime Dan Orlovsky's name gets brought up, we need to have a fucking crazy ass drop. We used to, like this. Because, oh my God, there's so much to tackle here. You're distracting me on so many levels. Let me go back to what I was saying. You brought up frumpy, fat. Then there's, well, he's a former Packer. We don't want that. Shut the. I've lived through Mark Trestman, Matt Nagy, and Matt Eberflus.
I get it.
John Fox, who didn't even give a fuck. I can tell you, Mike McCarthy is an ginormous upgrade as a coach, leader, planner than any of those guys could wish they could be.
But this is what I'm saying, and I'm not. I don't want to single out. I love Robert Nash, but at what point is the fucking player held accountable for the big games? Did James Franklin make Drew Aller throw that fucking horrific interception?
Exactly. Jake.
No, but guess who's going to get blamed for it? James Franklin, right? That's on Drew Aller. And again, I'm not the biggest Mike McCarthy fan.
Reading my mind.
I'm not going to be sick to my stomach if they hire him. I feel like if they hire Mike McCarthy, it's the Bears settling.
That's how you
saying this is going to be.
I don't feel like that.
It's their safest bet. That's what I feel, and that's what the Bears have been known for. You know what I mean?
I don't know if they've been known. They've taken the dumbest approach. Like the hot hire was Dave Wanstead. The hot hire was Matt Nagy. They've taken shots at hot hires, or the mutter hire, the guy that is going to, the mutter's going to be happy because we took a shot at the hot coordinator. I am not in that place with him, but we're going to get into that. I got so much to get into. Mike McCarthy should not be looked at as some Matt Nagy, for God's sake.
Not at all.
You know what I'm saying?
At
like,
all.
This guy has done it Shane, you said something else I think needs to be said on this show. It's not said anywhere else. I watched the two shows. The only two shows that I could stand behind is Cap and Hood. And Hoodie texted me because I made a comment about Waddle. But Waddle does remind me of an assistant principal fucking harboring over the budget. I think he's still budget.
Pissed. I think he's still pissed off about not getting this guy last year. That's what I think with Tommy.
Well, I'm pissed more than him.
Oh no, I get it.
But we got what we got. You can't. Anyway, I love Tom Waddle. That was my nickname at Hofstra, Waddle, because I caught everything. I was small, slow. It wasn't slow, it was quick. But anyway, back to this. I just get so tired of the Giants. So Pat McAfee and Hoodie and Cap, I barely agree with you, Shay. I know you watched the show. Shay Snorling. I find it hard to agree with you, but you did apparently send out one of the best tweets.
Yeah, I can read it right here.
Shane will have. So I got to give Shay credit. I barely agree with it. Any football takes Shay has, but
so
and
I agree with. I think people can fall into this trap saying like you and I had a private conversation, and I know he's talked about this publicly, so I'm not giving up any secrets here. Cap, wants a guy with previous head coaching in his history. At a certain point, I think that gets overlooked because just like you've said, it's got to be the right guy. You can't automatically default to the offensive side of the ball or the defensive side of the ball, just like you can't automatically default to, oh, this guy's got head coaching experience, so he's going to be pushed up to the top of my list. But Shay sent out a tweet, and in the history of the Super Bowl era, 35 coaches have won a Super Bowl. 23 of those were first-time NFL head coaches. Out of those 23, 5 of them had previous experience as a head coach in college. So 23 out of 35 were first-time head coaches. And if you look in the playoffs right now, I believe it's 8 out of 12 when they were hired with the team, they were a first-time head coach. And of course, you got Andy Reid and Sean Payton and Jim Harbaugh and John Harbaugh, and guys like that. But you cannot fall into the trap of predetermining and having a blueprint and saying it's got to be this. It's got to be the correct guy. Like
that's why I wrote an article on the Tape Never Lies Network. Patron only. If you're not a patron, go over there. I took a real in-depth, to the point where I shocked Shane, article. I go, yeah, I got to put it in writing because
top 16.
Well, it turned out to be 17 because when they denied McCarthy, I just didn't put him on the list. But once they let him go, I literally was editing and putting the last stroke on the thing to post, and then McCarthy became available. So then I had to work on his bio and try to explain this whole thing. Patrons loved it. You're going to do more of that. That's what we do on our network. I put my name to it so you could see it. And again, I just ranked them. This was done during Christmas. So this was before they announced any interviews or anything. I put my list together, and those TTNL heads that know me obviously knew a few that were going to be on the list that didn't make the interview squad, but a lot of them did. If you aren't a patron, I suggest you go over there. but I ranked them in numeric order. I will spoil that my number 1 was Brian Flores. Brian Flores was my number 1 candidate to be the new head coach of the Chicago Bears. And I give a reason why and look into what it is they see. And I look at the tape to see what kind of consistent effort, going back to the Dolphins when he was a head coach there, seeing what they're teaching, is it applied to what it is they're performing? A lot of that stuff that Shane was talking about when it came to Coach Franklin not being out there throwing that pass. Some asshole, some meatballs.
Breaking Chicago Bear football news that might make you very happy.
Oh, really? Well,
Not
I
even
wasn't
gonna play the drop.
about Rudy.
Yes.
Ready.
The Chicago Bears have parted ways with Director of Football Analytics, Preethi Chandrakasan.
Yeah. Save the analytics for the blog boys. Which, by the way, I dubbed that name.
They have a place. It just you can't base everything on.
It's a 7% place in my placement sheet. Okay, what is whatever this guy's name think about this? That'll be on my menu.
Chandrakasan.
Yeah, Chandrakasan. It'll be on my menu for breakfast post Sunday, Monday morning for the next week. What does he have to say? And I'll read it during my coffee and tape study. And that's as much as I put into analytic. It has a place. On third downs, coach, you're looking at 3 wide receiver sets, and on 90% of those sets, they are running if it's 3rd and 4. So that 90% stat, an analytical stat, is good for me because now we can game plan. Okay, 3rd and 4, we're going to run heavy defense. Maybe give them a false look.
Run heavy
D. Money earned in Mount Vernon. But to Shane's point, getting back there, was the coach isn't the fault. So when these Dan Orlovskys and all these fucking guys of the world are talking coaches, but look what they did in the playoffs. The playoffs is like a whole different ball game. There's so many things that go along in the playoffs. It could go wrong, injuries. I mean, the game speeds up another level. So I look at the whole juncture. I don't start measuring Super Bowls or how they did in the playoffs. Were they a consistent playoff entry? Were that regular season sets the tone for a chance to win? That's how this works. And that's how it should work. Cap made a great point. Like, when you're pissing on Mike McCarthy, we haven't won 10 wins in 4 years? We haven't had a 10-win season in 4 years. Prior to that, how many years was it? There's no consistent winner. So you want someone who's a builder of consistent winning, a culture that puts a precedence on walking in the door. This is my personality. This is my expectation. Cairo Santos, the long snapper, Montez Sweat, Caleb motherfucking Williams are all going to fall under the umbrella of my culture. They don't like it, get the fuck out. My GM is going to atone for my culture. If you draft a guy and he sucks and this undrafted kid is better, I will play the undrafted kid because winning is the priority. And that is the message that goes around because nobody knows the locker room better than the players. They know who is the best. So to try to cover your ass because you made a mistake is a culture loser. The Bears have been culture losers. They've had cornball Matt Nagy, cornball Matt Eberflus, and Mark Trestman. Look at the cornballs. Look at the fraud, the shoe set. None of them had the balls to hold everybody accountable to the point where your players are now talking about, we wish they held us accountable. We wish we watched tape in front of everybody. We wished. And if you think I hold any opinion, I hold opinions about ESPN 1000. I don't hold, my opinions are based off me and only me.
Yeah, it's just, I mean,
That's
Bojan's got to learn to be a better listener. Maybe he was just trying to ruffle your feathers a little bit. I mean, to say that Phil's basing his opinions off of radio is probably one of the dumbest comments I've ever seen since we started TTNL in 2020.
Nobody changes my opinion except the person. The person can. That person can. There's been moments on this network where we've had people come on and I thought a certain way about them and they come away, you know what? That guy was better than I thought. I give him credit. So when I do something like this, listen, I've written songs. So to step back into the arena, I wrote at USA Today for a minute until I wore a fucking hat. When I step into the arena about something like the coaches and the coaching of the Chicago Bears, and there's 100% shot that that's going to get back to Ryan Poles, Cruz, and Kevin Warren, they're going to read my writing on this stuff and match it up. Good. This is my truth, my moment. To put it on the record, because that's what we do at TTNL. And Shane will be the first one to hold me accountable. Aaron Glenn, number 2, if he goes out there and crashes and burns, I'll watch it just like everyone else and say, wow, I had that wrong. But I know,
John, you're a fucking. I gave you the benefit of the doubt, but you're just being a dick. I mean, obviously, I looked up your channel activity, and this must be your new thing tonight. Like I said, it's fucking. Your comment is stupid and fucking ridiculous, and you go hang out with the analytics guy that just got fired. You're a dumbass.
well, maybe Bojan. Cap says a lot of the things that I talk to him about too. That happens with friendships.
Yeah, Phil doesn't have an opinion on anything until somebody funnels him information. You cracked the code, Bojan.
You might be the dumbest, Bojan. Not Bijan, Bojan. I don't know what to say, but I don't believe me and Cap get into debate all the time. Like all the time. David Shaw, I am so high on as a coach, as a leader, as a changer of culture.
Bye-bye, Bojan. Can't even spell my name right. Later, dude.
Oh,
Go watch Aldo's show. You're a bitch.
I'm certain
Yeah,
you'll
homie.
learn a lot on that show. Thanks for coming. Oh my God. Bojan is the old Bears that we're trying to get away from.
Yeah, it is. It's all good. Bojan's a jealous little bitch that thinks he knows football. It shows up into the comments and runs his mouth. And now Bojan's gone. Bye-bye, Bojan.
But looking at the list that I came up with, I think 3 of the guys or 2 aren't on their interview. Everybody else I hit. So that says a lot about where they are. For me, that's okay. You're doing your homework. I don't look at it, nor does Shane. Oh, this is too much, because you can't hire anybody anyway. They haven't even finished their they didn't do what New England shitty did and played this Rooney Rule game that's embarrassing, to be perfectly honest, what they did to hire their guy.
Yeah, and just stay
You know
right
what?
there with the
They
Rooney
can
Rule.
have
Phil.
they can have Vrabel.
Stay
We'll
right
see.
there
We'll
with the
see how
Rooney
this
Rule, because I started this and people have been losing their shit. And the Bears can't hire a guy right now. They're not Rooney Rule compliant yet. I mean, people are like, oh, he's going to get. Can you do a under the table thing? Yes. And listen, did you see the report about Mike McCarthy's interview from Mark Silverman? That the Bears actually wanted to interview him via Zoom? And Mike McCarthy requested it to be in person?
I didn't see that. No.
Yeah, Sylvia reported that a couple of times today.
Yeah, I didn't listen to it.
And listen, you have to. This is going to sound like I'm giving Ryan Poles credit, and I'm really not. Things work in weird ways. He may look at a guy like Mike McCarthy and say, or Pete Carroll, and say, you know what? They're going to come in here and Kevin Warren's going to fall in love with Mike McCarthy, let's say. George is going to be blown out of the water by Pete Carroll. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's fine. But those two guys have more juice than Ryan Poles. And they could come and say, it's over. Those are our guys. They're not Rooney Rule compliant yet. I just think my fear is, Phil, you have to get Ben Johnson in the building. I think it's a miss. You're going through all of these names. You have to get him in the building to talk to him. I don't think you can make a decision before that. I think that's a mistake.
I think you have to do the whole list of guys before you make. Your history has been, I think we have a clip of it where he says, yeah, I chose him. It was from Potash asking him, did you want to interview more guys? And he's like, no, I chose him.
Yeah.
Well, we've heard every different.
I was given the opportunity. I found him.
And he fucked up. He'll live in infamy with that decision. Now he's getting another swing at the plate, the mulligan, to find the right coach. You cast a wide net to make sure you've covered every base. The same people that want this over, what are they going to do? He's going to start implementing OTAs now? There's nothing. Get all the interviews right.
Exactly.
You're 100% right. He's got to come here. Ben Johnson has to come in here.
You got to get him in here. You heard, I know we're going to get into this, but obviously we have no blueprint here, but you heard Caleb on the St. Brown podcast. It's pretty clear who he was referring to. I mean, let's be honest. I'm not saying that Caleb has to make the decision, but you got to get the guy in here and talk to him. And
100%.
People are losing their fucking. Listen, I've been wrong plenty. Bojan will fucking tell you. I'm a bitch. I've made lots of mistakes. I fucked up. Everybody losing their fucking mind and implying that this is a done fucking deal for Ben Johnson in Vegas because of Tom fucking Brady. Where is the pathway to success there? Is it because Tom Brady is a minority owner? What does that mean for success? What does it mean? Ask Michael Jordan about that.
It ain't going to be for Tom Brady. It's going to be for the money.
Phil, there is.
If they're going to go at it, they're going to overpay him beyond the dickens.
I wrote out a whole fucking list here.
No, you did an amazing. You should have put that as an article.
So, you tell me where this makes sense. You're willing to go to Vegas because of Tom Brady, and I'm not saying that you can't respect Tom Brady.
That's saying that,
but there's more and more bullshit every day because they know the market that Chicago is. They know it's a rabid fan base that's thirsty for every fucking morsel. and everybody is buying into it. Now, if you're Ben Johnson and you have been very strategic in how and where you want to become the next, the head coach for the first time, you're going to choose Vegas in that division
with Jim Harbaugh.
So you have Jim Harbaugh and Justin Herbert. You have Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. Now you have Bo Nix and Sean Payton. That's just your division. By the way, Patrick Mahomes, not even 30 years old yet. And oh yeah, by the way, here's another important piece. You don't have a quarterback.
That's a very important piece.
Yes, very
Gardner
important piece.
Minshew.
And this draft class, I wouldn't draft any of these guys in round one, any of these quarterbacks this year. Now the report coming out tonight that a Raiders beat guy, not even a beat guy, like a blog guy came out and said he's been told that don't be surprised when Ben Johnson's move to Vegas brings Hendon Hooker to Vegas. That's your move at quarterback? And before it was, he didn't take the deal in Washington because he wanted Sam Howell at quarterback. That was his move in Washington. They told him no, that they were going to draft the quarterback, so he refused. Not Ben Johnson. Now the Washington contingent is saying that they pulled out because he didn't want that Ben Johnson didn't want to draft a quarterback, that he wanted Sam Howell. But my point is, so let's just expand this beyond let's expand this beyond Patrick Mahomes, beyond Justin Herbert, beyond Bo Nix, Sean Payton, Jim Harbaugh, and Andy Reid. Get into the AFC. Lamar Jackson and John Harbaugh, Josh Allen, Sean McDermott, Joe Burrow, CJ Stroud, D'Amico Ryans, Tua Tagovailoa, Mike McDaniel, Trevor Lawrence. That's just in the AFC for you to be successful, that you have to get by those quarterbacks. Where is your pathway to success in that division, Phil? Where is it?
It's not there. It's not there. Not until you get a quarterback. And to your point, I am 100% on board.
People are saying that. So
I have Jackson Dart higher than these guys that they're talking about.
The two guys that I would draft before McCord and fucking Jackson Dart.
100%.
But people are saying Charles Robinson, I think he's with Yahoo Sports, is like, oh yeah, the NFC North is a really easy division. He's saying because it was tough this year. So you want to get out of the NFC
sideways.
Yeah, you want to get out of facing Jared Goff, Sam Darnold, and J.J. McCarthy.
That he knows we almost beat the Lions on Thanksgiving if it wasn't for.
He's been game planning in this division, Phil, for 5 years. 3 years is the OC with major success. And the Bears have never hired an offensive coordinator with that track record. Ever. I think all of this Vegas shit is leverage play and to keep shit stirred up and the fans fucking glued to their fucking seats and reacting in all of this. That's the way that I feel.
You broke it down right.
You get into the NFC. Jalen Hurts, Jaden Daniels, Dak Prescott, Stafford, Brock Purdy, Baker Mayfield. Where's the easier pathway? In a division that you know through and through with lesser quarterbacks? But your answer is Hendon Hooker and Tom Brady as a minority owner? To me, that screams one thing, that you're paying me $15 to $20 million a year and you're giving me full roster control and I can handpick my GM, and I'm essentially going to have all the fucking power. And you're not going to win there in Vegas. There's zero pathway. There's people going at me on Twitter about this, saying, the Vegas is actually wildly underrated, and the you don't have a quarterback.
You don't. Brett Mailey and Garner Minshew. Brett at the Wax Museum with looking like Garner. No, you're 100% right. Listen, Ben Johnson isn't high. He's not. He's on my list. To make my list, as I was telling Mr. Bullets, if you make my list, you're in high esteem in regards to a coach. I checked a few boxes on Ben Johnson, as Shane knows, and that's all I needed to know. In clarity, can he command the room? Well, I've heard that he can. And great things about Mr. Ben Johnson as a coach. The tape tells me he's teaching well, but the talent is so good that I'm like, okay, if you're a good coach, you'll be successful because of that talent. Then Jared Goff, who I have never been a fan of Jared Goff, but it's hard to deny
he's the best quarterback in the division, Phil, right now.
Right.
And it's like not fucking close. And that's
right.
I'm not bagging on really anybody else, but the way that he's fucking playing, it's Jared Goff in a massive gap.
Well, that's my point. That has to go in the hands of Ben and his coaching staff there, because I really thought Jared Goff is a big giant pussy and wasn't a tough stand in there, deliver accurately. If you blitzed him, and I know that is the recipe to beat him. If the Commanders are going to beat him, that's how they're going to do it. They're going to go after him. Now, you can't sit there. If he beats you, he beats you. But he has exceeded anything I ever thought that Jared Goff could be. So that checks a box. It's the same box that people are checking for McDaniels with Sam Darnold. Now, Darnold pissed down his leg, shit his pants the last 2 weeks. That happens in the NFL.
They're the fucking team, Phil, that gets all the fucking roses every year for their off season, and everybody's like, "Oh, here comes Minnesota." And I've said it on here for years, and I know that you've agreed with me. Minnesota does not scare me. They don't.
We had an overtime with them as well. They don't scare me. Their defensive coordinator, Mr. Brian Flores, he is my number one choice for coach.
Thank you, David. We appreciate it.
David Schlickler, $9.99. Don't worry, guys. Your Patron is so good, I'll pay for 2 accounts so my uncle can watch you guys. Is that your uncle Bojan? Because he needs to watch.
Probably not.
But back to Vrabel, off of my list of coaching, he wasn't number 1 for me, 2, 3, 4, or 5. I think it was 5 or 6. But he is an asshole. He's demanding, and he wanted to be he's the GM. He is the CEO of everything in New England. New England had to give him that in order to get him to coach there. Were the Bears going to do that, Shane? No, because they kept Ryan Poles. So Vrabel's gone because he wanted the power that he got from New England. The Bears, you can point fingers at Bears. You could say whatever you want, but they weren't giving that to Vrabel. And to me, I wouldn't either. I wouldn't. I don't believe in him like that. So we'll see how it plays out. But I am old enough to remember all of these hot coaches and all these guys, and they fail all over the place. Now, Vrabel gets the power he wants, and we watch and see what he can do.
And he's also
in sit here and wait.
And he's also in a place that he's familiar with, Phil, that he's been
on
forever, that he knows the fucking ownership. He knows all of that. It's people fall into the trap in free agency the same way. They just automatically assume like the Bears have 80+ million in free agent money, and everybody is just going to assume that everybody wants to play for the Bears. And if a guy doesn't sign here, it's like, well, why the fuck didn't we go after him? Not everybody wants to play here. It's the way that works. Well, why didn't he pony up money for David Montgomery? They did. David didn't want to be here.
100% didn't want to be here. Not with that coach. Sorry. Shane is preaching knowledge. I'm telling you, it's worth your time to become a patron. Just ask some of these guys with the stuff that we're bringing to the table. We got our super producer already cutting tape for the draft and the draft mob. We got so much in store for you guys when it comes to the coaching search and the analysis of it in the real way. There is no... I'm watching Dan Orlovsky today on Pat McAfee. I just want to... I don't even have words for it. It's so frustrating and pathetic that you could flip-flop, not in days, not in weeks, in hours time. You're saying one thing at 10:30 in the morning and 2 in the afternoon, you've decided to go the opposite way.
Dan Orlovsky and Mina Kimes were both railroading Mike McCarthy, how his offense hasn't adapted to the modern offense, and don't like it at all. And then in a handful of hours later, when the word breaks about McCarthy interviewing in Chicago and coming to Chicago for an interview, Orlovsky's like, I love McCarthy in Chicago. It makes so much sense.
Fucking pattern that you talk about other guys. We've had some of these guys with us. We had to let them go because they take the temperature of the fucking fans and they flow with that. That's their standing point podium.
Well, it's guys like Clay Harbor, like Chase
Don't
Daniel.
even fucking have them in. What
Chase
are you doing?
Daniel, Clay Harbor, all those guys. It's
Clay Harbor.
Chase Daniel, if you go on,
oh my God,
read his fucking tweets, everybody. It's the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be a problem this year. Seattle. Seattle's going to be a problem this year.
Justin's going to win that job in Pittsburgh. Russ ain't got it. Russ is killing it, bro. I knew it. Fuck. What world? Chase, please. Chase, please. More flip-flops than Daytona Beach. It's fucking pathetic. This is where we live. Munkin's on. Cohen is not.
Cohen is not. Sounds like there's a lot of talk about Cohen not here in Chicago, but that he may be very, very, very high on the Jacksonville Jaguars list.
He looks like a Jacksonville Jaguars future coach that gets fired in 2 years. That's where Cohen is for me. Some people are meant to be coordinators. That's where the hot button. Back to Shane's point with Dan Orlovsky. Mina Kimes should be sticking to fantasy football. It's like fucking nails on a fucking chalkboard listening to her, to me. Like, another flip-flop artist. Hot Take Central. I know that's what they do, but unfortunately, we're feeding fans this meatball takes of back and forth. They don't even know where to stand. That's why you become the Tape Never Lies patron. Have some fucking pride and dignity Where is that today? Where's some fucking pride and dignity in your analysis? Show us. When they put fucking McAfee put Orlovsky on the spot as a coach, it was so hilarious to me. You know what he threw out? Hot garbage of how he would run his plays. Yes, you do, Greg. Yes, you do. Greg brags in the stands from CHGO. I only steal my takes from Phil and Shane.
That's
At
right.
least he admits it. But no.
Just looking for.
I'm not smart.
Oh,
look at him. Yeah, he
He
probably
is
doesn't. He
doing
probably
that.
doesn't even know that he made our thumbnail.
$2. What a cheap fuck.
$2.
Jesus.
That's less than what it costs to rent a movie.
God.
Come on, Greg.
Barb gives him more than that in allowance. $2.
I want my $2. $2. Look, I wanted it to. I'm jumping all over the place, but because there's so much meat on the bone with this, Orlovsky, coach, throws out all these fucking. Yeah, I'm gonna mix a little RPO game, and I'm like, shut the fuck up, Dan. Oh my god. I wish I was trying to clip it, but I was in the waiting area for my daughter who had surgery today. She's doing well, but I couldn't play it to clip it. It was so pathetic, though. Pat McAfee. But back to Shane. Any person, and this is your job, DG Daniels, Axeman, our guy Bill Wagner, John Centino, guys that are here each and every week. You know who you are. If I didn't name you, I apologize. Those guys just popped up on my screen. It's your job to fight anybody saying, well, he's too old. He doesn't. Coach football is cyclical. Goes around. They'll be running the I formation next year. They'll be running power game. Nothing is new that we've seen. These bubble screens. I always tell the story. Went to the Hall of Fame with my dad, and here they are, the 1942 Sid Luckman-led Chicago Bears running fucking bubble screen, wide receiver screen in 1942. So stop. Like, this is some new concept. None of it is. Option football. You're just incorporating pieces of the old into different ways of attacking defenses. That's it. The best ones teach up front. Where have we failed? Up front. Those old school heads like Pete Carroll, like David Shaw. Oh, he's been out of the game. David Shaw is one of the best fucking football coaches in the U.S. Teaching fundamentals, preaching technique, just pop in a Stanford game and watch his offense be used each and every fucking Sunday in the NFL and
But
Saturday.
Phil, have you seen the way that they mesh?
When Shea Snorling talked about a slow mesh, I wanted to fucking shoot myself. It just baffles me. The action game, everything that Shaw stands for. It is brilliant to bring David Shaw into your building and talk to him. At one time, he was the hottest coach in all of football. He was more hot than Marcus Freeman. Everyone's talking about Marcus, right? Bigger than him. And guess what? David teaches those fundamentals, stands for, holds people accountable. It is never, ever a problem when you watch what he did with Andrew Luck, and then you're doing it, of all places, Stanford. Stanford. Under the Sean Payton, Jim Harbaugh, Bill Parcells, all of this stuff that he does, we can go over on tape. So, he's been out of the league. He's in the league. He's helping the fucking Denver Broncos draft these fucking players and build that culture up over there. Believe me, those are the... So don't write guys like that off, is all I'm saying. I see those kind of things, they just don't sit well with me. Like Pete Carroll should never be written off by his age because of who he is as a person and how he attacks the game of football. If there was a measurement of how someone loves coaching and loves football, then Pete's going to be off the fucking charts. And that's the culture that's needed and necessary here. So that's why you don't write anybody off. Now I have to sit here. I don't know. Does Ryan Poles have the brass balls to say this guy, David Shaw, this guy, Brian, this guy, Ben Johnson is the one? I don't know. I don't want somebody going back to these fucking corporate guys. Like, I totally would listen. Ivan, what were your notes on that? I would listen to Ivan and see if it matched up. At the end of the day, it's me. I want to see what Ivan thought. I want to see what Shane thought. At the end of the day, it's me if I'm the GM. I'm saying this is the best thing for this football team. And if you're putting Caleb Williams' priority way out in front, then you're doing it wrong because he is the team and the team is a part of him. Can he do it? What's your offensive coordinator's name? If you're a defense, what is your plan? That's important, yes. But saying an offensive coach has to be here is so pathetic. Honestly, it is. The Bears have failed at the head coaching position. That's why the offensive coordinators and all of these other people have failed, because the lead dog wasn't ever a lead dog. He was a, quote, cornball, quoting several players.
Speaking of cornballs, we took our $7 that we made in our super chats, and we have reinvested it back into the program, Phil. So here we go.
Breaking news. The tape never lies. Network breaking news.
There he is.
That was such a bullshit setup right there. How do I walk into that?
You walk right into it.
This is
it was like the time that Greg told me that I could stay at his mom's house. He's like, she's got an extra bedroom. I'm like, you think that's where I'm staying? He's like, fuck. He's like, I don't even know why those words left my mouth.
Yeah.
He knows how it is.
Oh, what's up, boys?
What's up, Greg?
Just waiting for Ben Johnson to take Hendon Hooker and go to Vegas.
Yeah, I mean, we just got to be patient, right? And that's why, like last week, I brought it up to you guys, like this notion of like, what would you prefer if you were to be guaranteed Ben Johnson as the head coach? Would you want him to get that Super Bowl experience or be ready right away? You know, here on, losing on Saturday and being ready. And I was making the argument that if if the Lions were able to get to the Super Bowl, and you knew he was your head coach, that's just the kind of experience you can't quantify that you could really use to inject into the Bears. So but now that we're a week since that question, I just want to be done with this. I want the answers. I see the value of them losing on Saturday and him being able to get right to a coaching staff, but it's also gotten to a point where I'm so sick of hearing the sources and rumors and everything else that goes in between on this. I heard you guys talking about it. It's like, come on, guys. It's
pump the fucking brakes. I mean, come
no
on.
sort. Someone's saying,
have you been waiting your whole life to coach in the fucking AFC West or in the AFC in general? I get it.
You are stuck on that, bro.
Because Phil, listen, if you have options and you're a first-time head coach, I understand wanting to be competitive. Let's just say let's say Tom Brady and Ryan Poles are after Phil Atoshin to be the next head coach. Lord save us, right, Braggs?
Well, you two would be hired.
Well,
So you
yeah,
should be
exactly.
Right.
Greg's the next.
Lord save us.
Greg's the next Larry Mayer.
No, Greg would be the get back coach.
He's
That would be his job.
He's Lauren Screeden.
No fucking way. He would do a good job as
Spice
Lauren.
Adams. He would. Yeah, he would.
Yeah, Lauren Screeden would be replaced by Greg on that role. So he would be involved in producing hype videos. I would allow him to fucking send as many highlights from training camp out as you want, Greg.
Right.
More the better. The more hype around us as a
Phil,
team.
think about how many
better.
games Greg has cost us with his videos. I mean,
know.
that's the bad part.
Yeah.
Well, lunch with Braggs does sound pretty legit.
Let's Taco Bell.
It would be right through the Taco Bell drive.
Taco Bell Cantina.
We would have to get that sponsor from Devontae Adams.
Taco Bell and whiskey at 12 p.m. at 12 in the afternoon.
We would bring that to you.
No, I mean, like a week ago at this time, it was Bears and Jags, and now, like I was talking with Rank about this earlier, now it's Bears and Raiders. And honestly, no matter how hard Raiders fans are trying to sell it that it's done, like I feel better about that head-to-head than I did about the Jags.
So do I. Listen, Trevor Lawrence hasn't lived up to the hype, but he's better than anything that Vegas has on their roster or
100%.
access to.
Right. Because that's what I mean. You know, unless, you know, like what veteran option, you know, is Tom Brady trying to sell to them? Russell Wilson?
Kirk Cousins. Yeah.
What is Ian Rappaport reporting tonight? Is this something he reported that it's basically a done deal? Could someone read this?
No, this is the thing.
This is how they manipulate.
Everybody's a fucking
This is
super
why you
snake.
shouldn't follow this stuff. It's annoying. I mean,
it is. He's like, it feels like
Go ahead.
talking to people in Chicago. This feels like a big deal. That's
what
the
feels
report.
like a big deal?
McCarthy interviewing
Oh,
person in Chicago. I mean,
the fan in the chat, I missed it. I saw
well, like my buddy Gary said, he said, because I didn't watch the clip, so I could go back and watch it while you guys talk just to be sure on this. But
or
like
I
Gary,
can pull it up. He can grab it.
All right, pull it up, fucking Ivan. Do something.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm trying to cut tape right now and listen to you fucks. What did you want?
Pause the
I
tape.
I can get it. I'll get it. I'll get
right.
it. Here's
Pull up the
But he-
damn Ian thing. Jesus.
Ian Rappaport reports.
Where's
So this isn't a tweet via text. It's a video, right?
Yeah, I can bring it up. It's
stating something in it.
There's no news in it.
But
It's
this is a perfect opportunity for us to break down how people.
Yeah.
It's the equivalent of stats when you try to manipulate verbiage to go in your direction. That's where you fall victim. Now, is this breaking news or no?
No, he finished an interview.
See, he's that's
God
Chef.
dang it, Chef Wag.
Chef Wag is manipulating a sentence.
Chef Wag, you have to understand.
Look
when
at
you,
Go
I
ahead, Greg.
trust the chat with my entire life, and when you do something like that, then that leads me to report that very thing you're putting in the chat as if it's news.
He completed his interview 1
His
hour
second
ago.
interview.
Yeah.
That with an exclamation point says to me,
So,
All right, let's hear
he's,
this.
he's done this.
I'm
Let's
gonna
listen to it.
I'm going
see.
to play this, and I'm just going to let you tell me
Oh,
where the.
hold on. I got to address this, Shane. You chill. You just put an exclamation fucking point
Hey,
like you're Adam Rank going off a rant.
listen.
That
you
he's Ian Cunningham to the Titans. That says
all right, but
Exactly.
listen, you can yell at Drew Black, you can yell at different people in the chat, but don't yell at a chef. He, you know, guys that are in the culinary
is he a
art.
chef at Taco
He doesn't
Bell?
work at he doesn't work at Taco Bell, Greg. So don't worry.
Man, I got a soft spot.
But I want him in Tennessee. You tell me where there's major news here from
Mark Collins says this is not the right video. How do we know?
So which one is what is the concerning news then?
Mark Collins, send Greg the video. He'll text it to Shane.
And this just goes to show you how much of a shit show this already is. Like, that's why it's not even worth watching these. You know,
well,
they did their remote interviews. There's still going to be in-person interviews. The only thing that I think you have to really right. Right. Yes, that's right. I agree. So
Aaron
I didn't know
Glenn and Ben Johnson.
Right.
So this
Adam
came out.
Adam Schefter has continuously stated both Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson will not be coaching with the Lions next year. They both will get head jobs. There's nothing breaking there except where will it be? Where will it be? That's it. So I don't know what to tell you in regards to any of this stuff.
So the one that he wants is about what rap sheet talking about Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I have that here.
All right, let's pull it up.
Shane's getting it up.
I haven't seen it either.
That's what he said. She said.
Let me just give me a second here. Stop yelling at me.
Well,
we only yell at Ivan.
That's right. God damn it, Vargas.
That never happens until Greg shows up. Okay.
Yes, that is true. Rex Ryan was not on my list. I mean, wasn't on their list. I had him on my list. Josh McCown was on my list of coaches I want to see the Bears interview. Possibly the Bears.
I have it here. So this is the one, and this is supposed to be concerning.
Yes,
to us.
This is concerning.
Let's find out. I haven't watched it.
Let's watch it. I have not seen this.
Maybe it will concern us.
The NFL Network.
You mentioned.
I think they're panicking because there's no mention of the Bears in there.
So,
yeah, exactly. It's
where
leading. He's the leading candidate. The Raiders.
Yeah, it had it written though. I mean, it had the Bears.
Yeah, the Bears are sitting there.
But I'm just saying, he said that that Ben Johnson is the Raiders' leading candidate. But did
they think
right? But at any point, did they say Ben Johnson prefers the Raiders over the Bears? That was never said.
It never was.
No, and listen, leverage plays into this. We're talking to people connect. Leverage is a big deal in all of this, in contracts, in gaining power, all of this, and it's
plus an agent speaks that out there. The price then goes up. Okay, this is what the Raiders are offering. George, are you willing to go to $11 million a year? Yes. Okay, we'd rather be. Then this is all a part of the off season in regards to where you are. I mean, you've seen coaches get fired, but as Matt Eberflus could tell you while he's sitting on a beach in Cancun smoking a cigar, he's still getting paid. So at the end of the day, your financial security is going to be number one. It just is.
And also just think about, like I said, from Shane's perspective, where he said, everyone's just trying to keep you interested, right? This is a big time for the NFL. It's the playoffs.
Yes.
It's almost become like an it's become like an arms race now before every game day on Sundays, that these guys, these insiders, you got, Jonathan Jones now with CBS, you got Jordan Schultz jumping into the mix, you got Ian Rappaport, Adam Schefter, obviously they've been doing this a long time, Albert Breer, you got who's the girl from The Athletic, Diana Rossini. Like, how many different people are coming out with these reports right before game days? And they're all part of networks that have a strategy of how they're going to keep interest with their company, This is how all media markets work, including the one I work for. So you want to make sure, and they're going to try to hold the line on their integrity. They might push it right to that line. But again, like we just pointed out, he didn't say that Ben Johnson's definitely taking the Raiders job. Right. He just said the Raiders' top candidate is Ben Johnson. Well, no,
or he could take it, but there's a lot of time to go.
There's still weeks.
You
can't hire anybody yet.
Mind. Right.
This is agent filling in with information that clearly there's interest. There's interest in the Bears, obviously, and you up the price. It's just
so as of last night, people that are interested in this,
Adam Schefter took the Raiders to the shed like you did, Shane.
Is there video of that too? Do I need to pull that up?
No, there is. I saw the quote and I thought I saved it on my fucking phone. I didn't. But somebody must have, Mark Collins might have that, because Adam Schefter said what you said. What the fuck do the Raiders offer Ben Johnson? They do not have a quarterback. They play against Patrick Mahomes, Jim Harbaugh, Justin Herbert, and Sean Payton.
Sean Payton and Bo Nix. And then you got to throw Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, all of those guys in there. There's not an arms race like that in the NFC.
This guy's got the video of Schefter. I saw it in print, and I thought I screenshot it.
Send it to me on DM at Wazram on Twitter, and I'll play it.
SAP, send it to him, and we'll get that on there.
Real quick, this was as of last night for people that like this, the updated Chicago Bears head coaching odds per bet online. So like I'm just going through. Todd Monken was plus 1,200, Aaron Glenn plus 1,000, Brian Flores plus 900, Pete Carroll plus 700, tied with Cliff Kingsbury, Mike McCarthy plus 250, Ben Johnson minus 250.
Right, and he jumped from minus 125 to minus 250 yesterday.
Yeah,
there was a point yesterday where and that's I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm some Vegas odds expert here, but from what people will tell you, that's a big jump in one day to make. And so, when you talk about reports and speculation, well, Vegas, they're about making money every day. So, they're going to keep their odds a certain way to make sure they make money.
Ryan
no matter
Cox.
what.
Ryan Cox just
minus 250 would mean he has very good odds.
Right. He's the odds-on favorite right now.
Yeah, odds by a pretty big margin. Plus
a minus means you have to go 500 up.
And what's interesting about that was this is bet online, right?
Yep.
Is the odds site here. A week ago we were talking about this, and the fifth highest favorite to be the Bears head coach was Marcus Freeman at the time.
Yep.
And that was before the report came out from Tom Pelissero before the games on Sunday that the Bears were going to request an interview.
And do you think
then he's dropped? His odds didn't go up. He's actually fallen down to 9th or 10th favorite. So Vegas, they're not always right. But at the same time, they're not, shoveling money into, the way they are out there for no reason. So, they get their information a certain way and then set the odds accordingly.
So this is a long clip, about 6 minutes, but this is Adam Schefter. So let's,
oh boy.
What do you make with what's going on out in Las Vegas and the Raiders? We've heard a lot of stuff. You came on Pat's show yesterday and mentioned the whole, Brady being very, very involved in this, obviously being a partial owner of the team. And then we're hearing the Ben Johnson stuff. What's going on out in Las Vegas?
Well, you know why Tom Brady's involved right now? Because whenever the Raiders hire their next general manager and their next head coach, they at that time will be paying
working like you, Greg.
3 different general managers. They will be paying 3 different head coaches. And that doesn't include the settlement
and no quarterback
that it had with John Gruden. So in a way, it's really paying 4 head coaches and 3 GMs whenever it makes its new hire. And whoever comes in there has an enormous challenge on his hands. And that's why Brady's there. Because if he weren't there, the job would not be as attractive. It's awfully compelling, I think, when you're thinking of joining a franchise to know that Tom Brady is in it with you. and he's going to try to do everything he can to help you. Because if you are Ben Johnson, and we just talked about Ben Johnson passing up Washington, you pass up Washington, and you could wind up taking.
You get the point, right? I know it just fell off the screen, but I did not do that. But you get the point there.
Yeah. I can
He's
put
saying
it back
exactly what you said. It's just putting into helping Ben Johnson and his thought process. If he is, I mean, we don't know that he's the Bears' number one.
Land a quarterback
Here,
and
let me
has
back it
to
up just
find a
little
way
bit,
somehow
you know.
to get. And you're going to a team that doesn't even have a quarterback, doesn't have a draft pick to go land a quarterback, and has to find a way somehow to get a quarterback. So good luck with that. Like, again, Ben Johnson needs to take one of these jobs, and he's going to take one of these jobs. But can you imagine bypassing Jaden Daniels last year and then taking the Raiders job over that?
Ian
Because
Rappaport.
Tom Brady is the attract. I get it.
versus
Tom
Adam
is incredible.
Schefter.
He's impressive.
Knockout
The
by
Raiders
Adam Schefter.
have so much ground to make up right now, especially in that division. And that, to me, is what they have to overcome here. Now, somebody's going to take that GM job happily, and somebody's going to take that head coaching job happily. But the challenge that they have, to me, is greater than the challenge that almost any team in this hiring cycle has, because of the level of competition that you're facing in the AFC West. It's like the quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Russell Wilson's a free agent. Justin Fields is a free agent. Russell Wilson very well may be back. That would make a lot of sense. But you're now going into a division where the other quarterbacks are Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, and the Cleveland Browns with the number 2 overall pick, thinking they're going to take a quarterback. So that's what Pittsburgh's
Justin
trying
will be in Tennessee.
And that's where we have to be thankful of the Cowboys process here, where they took, too long to figure out what they want to do with Mike McCarthy.
100%.
And that kept him out of the coaching cycle, at
Well, it
least
sounds-
first stage
yeah,
interview of interviewing.
It
Ben
sounds
Johnson.
like they essentially wanted to force Jason Witten in there as the
Jason
heir
Witten.
apparent. Yeah.
Jason Witten.
And now they're interviewing Leslie Frazier.
Is that their first interview?
Yeah. They've announced a couple of them, but Bears fan, the guys that they're interviewing, Bears fans would be losing their fucking
I will
shit.
say this for the record. I heard Deion Sanders' name for the Cowboys. I have never been that guy, but if the Bears ever hired Deion, I would honestly have a hard time ever cheering for the Chicago Bears ever again. That's how bad I do not believe in Deion Sanders as an NFL head coach whatsoever. That would be, not that it would ever happen. I'm just saying, if the Cowboys ever did that, oh my God. Oh my God. You talk about a circus. Talk about a circus. Everybody's fighting for a mic. There ain't no coaching going on. It's all social media, jokes, jewelry, cars. Oh my God. Stay away from that.
So
I don't know what
the Cowboys are used to that kind of thing. I think he certainly would make sense to go to Dallas, but yeah, Chicago doesn't make a whole lot of sense, or any sense for that matter to me. I don't know. I don't know where you guys are at with Mike McCarthy. I got to get going here in a second. So I was curious about, because I know talking to you, Phil, the other day, you were like, we shouldn't, like, coaches with experience, and all these fans wiping guys away, like Pete Carroll, or Ron Rivera, and now Mike McCarthy. We talked with Rob Domofsky, today, and he did a really good job of selling it to me. I have to be honest with you. And maybe I am dumb for needing a sell job about Mike McCarthy, but it was very insightful to hear from somebody that understood the process of Mike McCarthy developing Aaron Rodgers early in his career. I mean, that was 20 years ago at this point, essentially. And so, yeah, a lot of time has gone by. I got to be honest with you. The moniker "we could do worse" certainly applies with that tier of coaching. These three former head coaches that, have a good resume, but I got to say with Mike McCarthy, because you said it doesn't have to be an offensive head coach, and I agree ultimately with that premise. But if I can have my cake and eat it too, where I have a coach that understands the job and I can know what kind of culture he's going to try to cultivate in the locker room, and he's also somebody that develops quarterbacks, like I have to say, I think Mike McCarthy is a great consolation prize if Ben Johnson doesn't come to the Bears.
Ben Johnson is an unknown. Now, Shane knows I did some homework, and where it matters most, I could say he's checking the box in regards to my concern that he's never been a head coach. So that puts, the young, up and coming, great game planner, great play caller, situational play caller, all of the fears that I have, especially in the past. And Shane has talked about Matt Nagy was just a fucking, what do you call it? On a salad. He didn't fucking call plays for the Chiefs. He was just handed that position by the good old boy network. Here and Ben, you're getting somebody who's actually showcased, has a history, and is showing you the growth in the role, that he's ready to take that next step and take it on. And he has the area.
I'm not discounting him being inside the division for the last 5 years.
And that's a good point. He knows the division, knows it. But with Mike McCarthy,
I want to get back at him a little too, right?
Right. He might want to.
Right. That's that. Somebody put out there that, he doesn't want to. He respects Dan Campbell so much he doesn't want to face the.
You don't think
Shane would want to compete against me?
If that's
in
the
the
case,
division?
I don't fucking want him.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Get him the fuck out of here.
Right.
Exactly. You want to do that.
If you're going to Vegas,
I don't want to compete with my
for
friend.
the fucking money, then it tells me
Good
a lot
riddance.
about Ben Johnson.
Good riddance. If that's the case, I agree with you.
So Greg's got to go. But
Wait, but I want to answer his question. I said to Shane, I put Mike McCarthy up number 6 on my list, and he replaced Vrabel on my list because Mike McCarthy is a known commodity who builds character, understands the locker room. I would honestly, if Vrabel was still, I would put him over Vrabel because Vrabel's an asshole and does that way. I'm a big believer of being stern, not an asshole, understanding the player, joke, hold them accountable, but be able to be likable at the same time. Like, this is the law of the land. This is my rule. Don't fucking break it. I'm not going to bother you. Break it, I bother. That's Mike McCarthy. And he is what you said. He's going to build. He's consistently won. You can't argue that. Wherever he goes, he's won. We haven't won here. So you don't know what that is. And he understands how to build from inside out. Understands the role of the run game. In fact, this year, but even with the injuries, if he had some running backs, if his GM surrounded him with running backs, you're talking about a possible playoff run for this guy.
Yeah, they still competed with Cooper Rush.
Exactly. So what this guy brings is a consistent, known commodity who's a great communicator, not a good communicator, great communicator, great game planner, great builder of the run game, puts a priority on the offensive line. You could see what they've done there under him. And you know what? He's had a fucking, as much as a meddler as George is.
Exactly.
He's had a GM backstabbing him.
He's more of a meddler than George is.
Exactly.
Oh, and that was my 3 points that we kind of checked through with Rob Domofsky. One, he really laid out how he developed Aaron Rodgers. As soon as I heard that, I was like, okay, wow, this is exactly what they need. Box number 2, working with 2 different organizations like the Packers and Cowboys, who are both successful organizations, certainly more so than anything the Bears have ever done, and they consistently win. But Rob also underlined just how different both organizations are, where you have the Packers successful in a way, but your owners are the fans, essentially, you know, just a whole set of different people. And he pointed out how during the whole end of Aaron Rodgers era and that fiasco, you know, Mike McCarthy had to sit there through that. You know, same with early on with Brett Favre. And like, you don't have an owner that's front facing, you know, so Mike's got to eat a lot of that. Now he comes over to the Cowboys, to your guys' point. You got Jerry Jones breathing down your neck. So he's dealt with two different types of organizations that bring a lot of heat on top of the head coach. So he comes here. McCaskey obviously does things his weird way, but it's, you know, he's been through so many different ways that at least he's going to be prepared for that kind of situation.
So let me ask it to you this way, Greg. So you had Rob on, and I totally understand all that. And I think that stuff is obviously very important. And Phil, you can answer this too. You have the interview with Mike McCarthy today.
Yep. I know where you're going with this.
He's knocking off all your, you know, putting all the checks in the boxes. Are you willing to not entertain Ben Johnson and even get him in the building?
Well, that's the thing.
Make the next head coach.
When we are saying, when I first came on, like, everybody's just got to be patient. This process is going to take a while because Ben Johnson's the first domino. The one thing you have to preface is, and this is something where, like, even us here at CHGO Bears today, we're like, hey, nothing should happen for the next few weeks. But that doesn't mean that we're not on alert here this weekend. Because if the Saints and maybe the Jaguars, but right now the Saints, who are scheduled to bring him in, former offensive coordinator New Orleans, if
And
all of a sudden that arms
he
race
was a coordinator
starts going-
there with Loomis there. So
exactly.
there's a connection.
So exactly. So that was his first OC job he ever got.
Yeah.
So now all of a sudden, if it becomes a staring contest, an arms race for Mike McCarthy, and you start to get antsy and impatient, like, oh, I better make sure I get this guy. One in the hand is worth two in the bush, or whatever the hell they say. You know, two in the so that's where this could become something that facilitates rather quickly. So I do think there is a potential that Mike McCarthy is hired before Ben Johnson, and that team very well could be the Bears if they absolutely fell in love with him here tonight.
I think you're in a position of power over New Orleans. Just their cap situation is so far fucking blown up, and obviously the quarterback situation is another huge issue there. So I mean, I think the Bears are in a position of power there.
Right, but if the Bears go, Mike, we really love you.
Yeah.
We've got you as one of our top candidates and a finalist, but we are going to see this process through, and we're not making a decision until we get a second interview with Ben Johnson. And Mike McCarthy goes, all right, all due respect, I'm going to take the job in New Orleans. You know what I mean? Like, that's where this could become a, like,
I don't have Mike McCarthy high enough on my list that if he's trying to force me and put me into that position, that I'm willing to not talk to Ben Johnson.
Right. And for the Bears,
if they talk to Ben Johnson,
they did. You got to bring him to your. You got to bring him into your.
You got to get him in the house.
And so
I agree with that. But to your scenario, you're putting me in the scenario now.
Right.
Right. Talk to Ben Johnson.
But are you willing to
Ben Johnson?
Just make it simple. Cut away all the layers. Are you willing to hire Mike McCarthy at 9:55 p.m. East tonight?
Well, I'm going to give you one other thing to think about. Mike McCarthy is going to come in as an experienced head coach. With an experienced head coach, what comes with that, Greg?
A good coaching staff.
That's where he holds me a little bit over with what Greg is saying, because I know he is going to put together a fucking staff that is going to be indicative of us building something that I want. That doesn't mean Ben isn't. I'm getting that answer from Ben in that Zoom. So that's going to be okay. I'm going to bullshit.
Oh, they know. Yeah, they know.
I need to
who these
know
guys
that.
are tied to. Yeah.
I have to get, but there is no doubt Mike McCarthy's going to get ain't going to be Chris fucking Morgan on the offensive line. I'll tell you that.
So, all right, let me ask it to you this
That
way,
would
then.
take a priority to me, to be honest. to
Knowing the Bears, and
I have Pete Carroll over McCarthy.
we know the power structure, and we know that Ryan Poles is leading this. So give me a power rankings of where in the Bears world.
In the Bears world,
because my top 3 for the Bears is probably going to be completely different than what I'm trying to think from the Bears lens. And I'll kick it off. I think
you're thinking from the Bears lens.
From the Bears lens,
I can't think for them because they're so dumb.
I think Ben Johnson
coaching.
I think Ben Johnson is the number 1, and I think that's probably more from a Ryan Poles lens.
I agree.
Number 1. Okay. I think number 2, and people are gonna fucking melt down. He doesn't want to be it. I think Marcus Freeman is number 2 because of the Kevin Warren lens.
Yeah. Number 2. Wow.
You're crazy.
Yes.
That's why I love you.
But I'm serious though, Greg, because Kevin Warren is a spotlight, fucking bright lights, Midwest fucking meathead. And I think Mike McCarthy is the pivot. And then after, if you want to expand it beyond that, I think then it goes to like Pete Carroll,
Ron Rivera, and Mike
Monken, and Brady, whoever you want to throw in there.
I'm
not saying that Marcus Freeman is going to take it. I'm telling you, I feel like Marcus Freeman.
Their draft board.
Shane just likes to fucking drive my blood pressure. And
No,
I'm
not.
high.
No,
that's what he wants to do.
About
Taxes and blood pressure.
It's
says
not
it every day to me.
It's not that. I'm telling you. Tell me that you can't see that Marcus Freeman is the dude that Kevin Warren would fucking
right.
want.
Freeman might not want to come here,
right?
But the
The
Bears
board.
I can see where you're coming from because it takes a headline.
This is the point.
A month's worth of
People
headline.
aren't fucking listening to what I'm saying. I don't give a fuck what
talking
Marcus
about.
Freeman thinks.
I'll
I'm
explain.
talking about the Bears rankings of what they, from their vantage point, what
Shane
they
is
want.
playing and making pretend that he's sitting there as Ned McCaskey with George, Kevin, Shane, and Ryan Poles, and they're talking about the coaches and how they rank them. See, there's Shane in the corner with the white shirt. He's involved with the discussions there.
I
So
haven't just
he's
got his
saying
tax.
from
I haven't just
behind
opened
there,
up his taxes.
hypothetically, I believe that the Bears have them ranked like this. I think McCarthy is in that top 3 on the Bears side. Oh, you did?
Yeah, he was my number 3.
Oh, I didn't hear that part.
I think Ryan Poles has. I think Ryan Poles wants Ben Johnson. I happen to believe that Ben Johnson wants Chicago, and I'm not buying any of.
I believe
of this other
that too.
ancillary
By the
bullshit.
way, I believe that
I
Ben
think
Johnson
Kevin
wants
What's
Warren,
nice is when Ben Johnson doesn't work out in 3 years, then they get Marcus Freeman.
Yeah, let's play this game again.
So
Listen,
what's your rankings? And then we'll ask Greg.
from the Bears?
From the Bears lens, not from yours.
This is very hard for me to do.
Well, that means it's
reeks.
a good thing to do.
Have you ever tried apple cider vinegar, Greg?
Oh, yeah.
Sounds disgusting.
It's horrible.
Okay, do me a favor. Tomorrow or a day, take apple cider vinegar, put like 2 spoonfuls, and fill your glass with, 6 ounces of water and take a sip. That feeling when you're swallowing that is how I feel right now. Being
Yep, I'm clipping that shit.
We had one earlier too. I got to give you the time.
My sour shakes my back muscles shake with that sound. That's how I feel when I'm thinking that I'm with the Bears. All right, the Three Stooges. I believe number one for the Bears will be Mike McCarthy. That's their number one guy. Their number two guy is Ben Johnson.
So let me ask you this, though, for your number one. Do you think that is input more so from people above Poles, or do you think that's Ryan Poles' vantage point?
I think it's all of them. I think Poles has big time respect for Mike McCarthy in what he's done. I believe he's relying heavily on Andy Reid and making calls to what Andy his thoughts on Mike. Because again, they asked for an interview.
What if he says we got a guy right here on our staff that's one of the finest coaches that I've ever been associated with, Ryan?
Well, that's why you got to steer the conversation. Like, what do you think of Mike McCarthy? But again, that's I think Ben is number two, and number three.
I just can't get it.
I can totally get behind your Marcus Freeman. I believe.
I think that's the Bears.
I don't think he's the number. Well, 2, 3. You're right. I think he's in there because I think you want to win over this franchise.
But I don't. Yeah,
Let's take Notre Dame's golden boy.
Fucking right, and I don't think that Ryan
put him in Chicago.
I don't think Ryan Poles is necessarily on board with that, but I think that's. I think if Kevin Warren could just snap his fingers and have the next coach of the Chicago Bears right now, and Greg and I talked about this privately a while ago, it just, especially if they go out and win the national title, to me, it's got a Kevin Warren fucking vibe all over it.
All right, so to me, just
I love Matt Campbell. I'll just say that.
Follow the trail, right? I mean, the first person they requested to interview was Ben Johnson, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So he's number one.
No idea. Is that confirmed? He was the first one.
At least our heads are spinning after 25 requested interviews, but I'm pretty sure the first requested interview was Ben Johnson. And part of that's because they know they had to do it in that first week during the Lions bye week. But so number one, Ben Johnson. Number two, Mike McCarthy, because they requested to interview Mike McCarthy when he was still employed with the Dallas Cowboys. And then as soon as he was not employed by the Dallas Cowboys, they were the first team to fly him privately to Chicago, whether that was on Mike's request of the Bears, regardless. He was in Chicago tonight eating steak might currently be eating steak at Bavette's with George McCaskey and Kevin Warren and Ryan Poles.
Could we get a waiter from wherever this restaurant is?
I heard maybe Sophia's in Lake Forest. We can call Sophia's right now if you want.
Could we call Sophia's?
Call Sophia's. There's, hey,
call Sophia's.
Call Sophia's.
Hey,
ask him if
is Coach McCarthy there tonight?
And they're never going to let me in house hall anyway.
The great Greg Braggs.
Number three, again, following the crumbs, right? To your point, Marcus Freeman, because the reported interest in him before Thanksgiving.
That was Schrager.
That was Schrager. That was Shane. That was Shaner. That was
Shane
Shaner
was the first guy to say the wild card.
Right. And so
I haven't heard you give Shane his love or roses on CHGO.
First time. Ivan, can you cut that? Man, when Barb and I are saying our nuptials, I'm fucking playing that on our honeymoon night.
Watch your fucking mouth. And well, whatever. You know what? I'm not giving him credit. Fuck him. But Marcus Freeman, number three, because not only was there reported interest back then after the extension, all the way to this point, 20 interviews.
Vrabel the first one? I'm sorry.
Somebody had that in the chat. I think it was.
No, I thought so too.
John S. said that. But either way, I mean,
point stands.
We can't pretend like that there wasn't smoke to Ben Johnson to Chicago last year before they decided to keep Matt Eberflus.
Right,
I
and
mean,
there's the quarterback collective. There's a connection there, you know.
and with Joe Brady too, because that he
Right.
worked directly with Caleb.
On that
Greg,
age,
I'm not on the list. I didn't make the fucking list for the Bears. Fuck.
no, you didn't make the list. You and Adam Rank. I mean, you're coaching basketball. Adam's coaching soccer. You know, you guys are really starting to
Football
spread your
and
wings.
basketball. Look at me. I'm multi-sport coach.
God, I would love to hear
Me too.
you
I wanna go to that
coaching
game.
and running sets for
Oh, I'm impressed. I did take some notes from Shane.
Doing the four corners.
Yeah.
I'm calling it. I ran
Bill's
the four
yelling out to
corners.
Tate, get under center.
Wichita.
High formation.
I call out Wichita. We come
Get under center.
double pick.
The guards are getting on their hands and knees. Like, wait,
We do play
rebounding here.
We do play physical.
All right.
Steph would film some of the game. We could have some fun highlights, but
yes,
what are we gonna do? But yeah, Ben Johnson, Mike McCarthy, Marcus Freeman. Was there one other one for you, Greg? You were gonna say, or no? That's
No,
it.
those are my three. I mean, after that, I'd
So
be
we're all
scared.
pretty much on the same page.
Number 4, Ron Rivera. If we're going what the Bears would do.
Yeah, that would.
Shane is too hard on Ron Rivera.
I'm not. I just don't. I think that there's better. I think
Ron
there's
has
clearly
been-
better options.
But no, you got to stick to the Bears board, not you.
No, yeah.
Your better option.
No, but I did to
I
his
think
credit. I said Shane is too hard on him, so now he can.
Right.
I
he's
think that
free
they
from
would
it.
have. I think that they would have Pete Carroll higher than Ron Rivera.
I have Pete Carroll higher than Ron Rivera.
Yep.
But I'm just saying, Ron Rivera has also been
But this is
hamstrung by ownership.
This is the thing. You don't. They could be high.
The two
they could be
worst
talking to
owners,
Ron Rivera
worse
and
than
saying-
ours.
They could be talking to Ron Rivera and saying, "Hey,
You want to be
we
the
talked.
DC for
We
Ben?
talked to a guy on Zoom. Would this be something that you're open to?" That shit
Come
happens
back
too.
home. 100%. I got one vote, Steve. Thank you, man. Actually, I got
I could
three
do
or
it. I
four.
could do it without Ron Rivera as a head coach. But if it were to be him as a DC, I would listen to it. The only thing that I would be concerned with would be is his, familiarity with the organization is good, but is he going to be like a guy that's if all
Ben
goes well, is he
Johnson.
going to be looking over the guy's shoulder, breathing down his neck? Is there going to be some not micromanaging, but is there going to be some kind of like helicopter parenting, I guess, going
Well,
on?
I mean, when Rivera had this defense churning in the Super Bowl year, right? There was some friction, right? Between
Lovey
him
fired him
Lovey.
because he was
Right.
getting
Bob
too
Babbage.
much attention.
Well, and then
That was a
Briggs
true
told me
story.
straight up, then when Babbage came in, they're like, "Fuck this!" Like they
This guy sucks.
liked Rivera,
Yeah.
they weren't as big of fans with Babbage.
So Ryan Pohl's first gig
I loved Ron
in-
Rivera's defensive
in
philosophy. By the way.
coaching / any type of role was as a graduate assistant at Boston College, and he left in 2008, and a new set of graduate assistants came in 2009. Does anybody have any idea who it was at Boston College?
Ryan Poles.
No.
Ben Johnson.
Yeah, it was Ben Johnson.
Oh yeah, you had already told me this.
Right.
So I thought. I didn't
And
get- he came.
They
after,
asked
Poles came after Ben Johnson.
No, Ben Johnson came after Ryan Poles.
Oh,
Poles left in 8, and Ben Johnson came in 90. He was essentially
Who was the
one of the
head coach at
replacements.
BC at that time?
in 08. I don't know. I'd have to
We
look it
looked
up.
that up, Ivan.
But there is a connection between Jeff King and
2008
Ben Johnson.
Boston College head coach, and 2009. Was he there? I want to. If it's the guy I'm thinking, I can't place the name, but he's a great coach. I have Flores number 1 for me as the head coach of the Chicago Bears. Not the popular opinion, but I got a lot of people sending me the screenshot of Dan Graziano saying he says in the body.
It's
Go ahead.
Jeff Jagodzinski.
Jagodzinski.
Jogzinski.
Jeff Jag. We'll call him Jeff
Yeah.
Jag. All right. Yeah. So yeah, that guy.
There you go. He good coach. Don't know where he is right now, but listen. I have Flores, Graziano put him out there, but he put it in perspective. He's guessing that there's a lot of talk about Flores. I am a big believer in second chances, and I'm a big believer in thinking that the Bears defense needs a hell of a lot of a facelift more than the offense in regards to the scheme. It's completely, if Dan Orlovsky wants to talk antiquated, sitting in the cover 2 on 3rd and 17 and allow a deep dig to convert, to allow these little dump off screens to run for 20 yards on 3rd and 17. That's got an aggressive defensive play caller that sets the tone and brings in a great offensive coordinator. That's going to be important. I like second chances. That's why, and I go into greater detail on the tapeneverlies.com. Become a patron there.
I think this is actually a very important comment from Mark Collins.
100%.
I don't think there's many people out there that fucking know anything about.
Well, the guy who's saying, I heard that the interview with Vrabel went so amazing. George felt, where is this getting leaked out? Who is this blog boy saying it? Like, Greg, you have not heard about one interview. Have you?
No.
Have you heard, hey, this interview I heard was absolutely
nothing from the people that I talk to that are like people within the building, so to speak. Nobody's nothing firsthand from somebody that would, anything I've heard from anybody that says they've heard stuff is secondhand. So I'm hearing from somebody that heard it from somebody. So I can take in that information and, try to parse through it, but I can't, report it as fact. This is all just speculation, and so I haven't, no.
What did you guys think of Caleb? Essentially, I mean, to me, he was clearly talking about Ben Johnson. He's like, hey, if we get Ben, we get Ben. And if we don't, so be it. It is what it is.
Right. Well, I mean, I have to imagine that he's a part of this process. Like, even in this early on, do you think, how much are they including him?
I don't think they're including him yet. I think maybe there's a place for him. They might have showed him the list.
I think they've talked to him. I don't think they're taking direct input and letting him dictate anything. I think that they've clearly talked to him.
Well,
I mean, just because it felt like just the way they were talking.
Why are you picking up the fucking phone? If you think it's fucking,
if he was involved, he would have.
That was the point I made with Rank. It was like, the way they were talking, him and the St. Brown brothers and EQ going, let it go, Amon. He's gone. Let it go. Right, and it was just like they're friends. Like, this isn't like they did a podcast together, but
I'm telling Ben that Caleb's trash.
Right.
Diva. There's more to that. They're just not letting you get down deep into the actual information.
Look at who with Ben Johnson. Caleb got tricked, and the first person Caleb texts to confirm that this is Ben Johnson is Amon-Ra.
No,
right?
he texted him in regards to getting the text.
Right. No, I understand that.
Now he's waiting for Greg to respond. Like
I'm
me.
Just saying, he immediately exactly. So that kind of peels back the curtain of how close those guys are and how much they're talking. So to Shane's point, they've already had this conversation off the air. They're giving us the cookie crumbs of a much larger,
They're on the outside of the skating rink.
It's no just you don't think that Amon-Ra has any fucking inkling of a potential direction, what is more likely and what is not?
Right.
Did he come out and say, I told him to stay the fuck away from Vegas too?
Right.
No.
Right. He can go there.
Yeah.
I
Here's
thought it
a
was
clip. Do you want to watch
it
this
was-
clip from Caleb talking about what he wants as a head coach?
But things like that, and then just a dude that's got a fire to him. I don't want people that
I
doesn't
thought this was very
have a
important.
fire. Like
Fire
like
to
I
him.
got I think I got a certain fire about me inside of me that, you know what I mean, that certain people can't coach or certain people can't be around or it doesn't work in
Can't
that
have a
way.
cornball, Greg.
Yeah, I think
Coach.
that's a big part of it.
Waldron smiling at him
And so
after
if
a
it's
failed.
I mean, if it's Ben, then you know.
Nigga said.
Hey, look at Amon Ra
Yeah, me.
smiling there. Can you
Look at
rewind
the
that a little
facial
bit? Dave?
expressions.
Can you
I
rewind
do
that a
it
little
for you.
bit?
I think it's
As
it's on
Caleb's
Ivan's
talking
end.
about where he says
I
if
got
it's
it.
Ben. I mean, really, this
Ben,
still,
Nigga said.
you know, like to even that still shot, that was it. Like the way
Yeah.
he knows what he's thinking and he's waiting to see what he's gonna say because they've already talked about it.
Right.
You know,
What did you think when he asked who's the best player you played with?
Well, no, that's what I was going to bring up when he said Keenan Allen.
Keenan Allen.
Yeah.
Not DJ.
Not DJ. And good on you, Caleb.
I mean,
Good
just
on
on
you
its
because
surface,
DJ
I mean, Keenan is the more decorated wide receiver. Period.
Yep.
So if you don't want to play the flip it and turn it into a drama thing, fine. But he didn't say DJ. You know, he didn't bring him into
Yeah,
that
me.
discussion.
If it's not, then
just watch his
it
face.
is what it is.
I mean,
he's biting.
he's not
his
staying in
head.
Detroit. GG's. If it's been, I'd be hurt and be sick.
All right. How many years you got on your contract? You come on, slide over. You know what
Hey, do that. Whoa.
That's some tampering right there.
Come on, slide over, be the technician.
You better chill out, Caleb.
You know what I mean? You be.
Y'all got dogs over there, bro. I thought I ain't gonna lie. Before the
This is
season,
a
I'm
good
like the
part.
Bears are gonna be, bro. They're dangerous.
No, we got dogs. We got dogs.
You got some dogs over
You
there.
guys got a good team, bro.
But you had a fucking soft
That's
ass
the fucking
coach,
thing.
bro.
And I think that a lot of people have fallen into the trap of saying this roster is absolutely fucking garbage. The Bears have no fucking talent. I've seen that from patrons that are connected with us. And I wholeheartedly, do they need more talent? Yes, they do. They need more firepower. They obviously need to focus on the trenches. We all know that. This roster is not trash.
They're talented. They're talented, but I will say they need to get tougher.
Oh,
There was
100%.
the softness.
Where does that
Soft
come
is
from?
soft.
Right.
It comes from the coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, it trickled down, but they hold their own responsibility to
Throw
that.
me some
softness.
flowers, Greg, because that's what I've told you forever.
I'm not throwing.
And
you
yes, you're 100% right. The players have to fucking rise up too.
And John S.
Players
is in
have
the
to
chat
do it.
saying, overall, I think he needs to stay off the podcast. I mean, to this point, like from the minute Caleb has become a Bear, you know, from the draft
He's not
on,
out there.
he
has
has
radio
declined. He's declined more interviews than not. He has not done very many interviews. I know he sat down with Caitlin Sharkey like last week. Other than that, he's not giving the media very much and doing a show with Amon Ra, who's a good friend of his. You know, like they're good friends.
Did
So
you see
like
the
that
part about the nail painting, and he was talking about, and then Amon Ra, to his credit, was like, "Yeah, you were losing a lot," and he's like, "Yeah, I had to chill with all the losing."
But he
he
also said he's pre-planning for the entire season next year.
that was the awkward moment of the podcast when Amon Ra was like,
"No,
you've got only child vibes. You've got only child
that
vibes."
was
He's like, "What is it? What do you mean by that?" And then he like tried to soften it instead of going harder at him about it. And then he was like, "And
I didn't know he had siblings either."
Then he goes, "Speaking of that, how about your painted nails?" I'm like, "Whoa, like where is this going?" So that was certainly
the worst part was the fucking virginity thing, because they were talking about.
Yeah, that was awkward as fuck.
Carm was all over that one.
I'm sitting with my daughter listening to this, and she's like, "Where does this question fit in?"
He's like, "I was going into 9th grade." And I'm like, "Oh shit, this is coming off." The
yeah,
fucking rails."
seriously. And then
Pass on that question.
Carm wanted to talk about it on the show today, and I was like, "They're like, what do you think?" I'm like, "I'm not gonna talk about 9th graders and their endeavors. Let's just move on."
I'm like,
Jesus
what?
Christ.
Oh my own. That's where I went with that. But
well, and then the other thing that I thought was revealing, and then I'm going to take off, was the Hard Knocks aspect of that, where he said that they weren't, they ran it real smooth and it was fine, but he said overall it was invasive having the amount of cameras they had in each room. They put these, I don't call them hidden cameras, but they have these cameras mounted in the walls of the meeting rooms in Ryan Poles' office.
Hey, he pointed the one out. He's like, he did the interview with Hogan Johns. He's like, that's one right there.
Right. And so like you can hear it like moving, right? And Caleb said in the interview, like at one point they asked, can you hear it? And it said yes. And so like that to me, when you talk about a team that like all you heard after the season was like, hey, we have to talk more about, we have to kind of lay out what needs to happen to each other a little more and be honest with each other, show more leadership. I think that Hard Knocks, I'm not putting it all on it because they hold their own responsibility and you can be authentic even though cameras are in front of you. But I do think that that's part of the reason why that this team took so long to have some of the honesty come out that started to spill out once the bullets were flying in the season. And you have a first-year play caller and a rookie quarterback who, just overall, everybody's got to air out what they need to have said before the season starts. And I don't think enough of that was said, until it was too late. And so having Hard Knocks there as a distraction and cameras around that are keeping people from, voicing maybe their authenticity, I think maybe was something that held back. So I'll be the first one to say that overall, anyone that was saying we shouldn't have had Hard Knocks last year was right, and I was wrong. I'll admit it.
And I think it's important.
I don't agree.
I think it's important.
I mean, the Lions were able to be authentic in front of the Hard Knocks cameras 2 years ago.
George didn't allow the authenticity to come across.
I agree with that. That's
creating a discrepancy or a violation, however he is
fucking Bob Bobson. What kind of a fucking name is that? Suck on your stupid name, Bob Bobson.
I know I was rooting for the Bears, Phil. What about you?
100% rooting for the fucking Bears.
Were you?
I was so happy.
The last 40 seconds, I was rooting for the Bears.
No, the last minute and something. Come on.
Whenever they got
the ball, you cheered the whole. Don't tell me you started cheering once they got in field goal range.
I was laughing when DJ Moore fumbled. I was laughing.
Not me, man. I was fucking hot. I was hot.
I was fucking hot. It looked like you threw the ball on the ground.
I literally would have, if you were sitting next to me and you laughed, I would have throttled you in the fucking face.
The Keenan Allen, the Keenan Allen interception is easily the funniest thing I have ever seen in
you
Chicago.
And I talked. I was so fucking mad because I mean,
Thomas Brown lost his job in that play to me.
But Keenan Allen putting his hands in his warmer.
And
while the fucking ball's getting picked and just fucking walking off. I'm like, what the fuck?
He looked like Drew Bledsoe circa 99 in the fucking QB competition, throwing the ball and walking off like he's going to win that. They need to bring that back, by the way, that fucking QB competition. I used to live for that. You remember that? With the target.
Caleb did say he's good from 75
yards, bro. Yeah. That is a fucking gun shot. 75 yards, Greg.
Mm-hmm.
How many yards do you think Greg could throw, Shane?
Well, man, I'd throw my arm out.
15.
Shut up, Ivan. Get back to cutting clips. Go back to your dungeon.
I'm cutting clips. I'm just listening to this bullshit.
But what are you eating? What the fuck are you eating?
Apple.
He's not eating
the apple. Yeah, right.
It's popcorn, man.
How many yards can Greg throw? Dude can't even walk down an escalator.
15. I'm not fucking around.
You can't walk down an escalator. That's fucked up, bro.
How much power can you get behind those with those knees? How much power can you get behind that throw? Like, let's be real.
Not a lot. Not a lot right now.
He's on injured reserve.
Do you want me to text Jenny?
Ask Jenny. Ask Jenny right now.
Can we, for the record, before you go, give us a score prediction for your Notre Dame Fighting Irish? I can't believe you're not wearing an ND shirt.
It's Boilers night tonight. Don't fucking do that to me. Don't ask me a fucking question and then
I
tell me
didn't
don't
touch
care.
this. It's your
It's
boy.
fucking
That
Boilers
was
basketball
That was
tonight.
Vargas. He dropped
Vargas
the
said,
popcorn on
"Fuck
the
Greg."
keyboard.
Yeah, the Boilers are losing by 7 right now. It's almost halftime, and they're losing to a team they definitely shouldn't be losing to. So it's panic mode here for the second half. I think Notre Dame is going to lose to Ohio State.
Oh,
Yeah,
my
but listen,
God.
let's preface this.
There's no preface.
He's trying to use
No, I'm
reverse
not.
psychology.
No, the fuck
like
I'm not.
He has
This is-
been on social media.
What's
Yes, he
these
is.
scissors?
No, the fuck I'm not. Because when I'm finished talking to you idiots, I'm going to threaten Bob Bobson with these fucking scissors. Now, what I'm saying is Notre Dame's they've gotten away with it here these last 3 games, and they've had some good fortune happen. Don't worry about it, Alexander. Listen to what I'm saying.
We got a bigger strip.
So what I'm saying is Notre Dame's defensive line is undersized, which causes them to have to blitz constantly to try to get to the quarterback. And half the time they were blitzing against Penn State, they were not getting home. They did force a couple turnovers that were called back because of penalties and all this crap, whatever. They finally got one at the very end that saved them. But overall, when you combine the defensive line being undersized and then your quarterback being limited for Notre Dame, I just think Ohio State has way too much firepower. And I don't know if they're going to get that idiot off the screen. Jesus Christ.
Hey, you watch your mouth.
He's getting scared. He looks like he's lost
Hollywood.
Yeah.
Hollywood
losing some weight.
Oh, he is
going for a part.
He's a
major
fucking
role.
model now. Yeah.
So anyway, I don't think they're going to win. I'll be surprised, but I didn't think they were going to be.
Oh my God, Greg, droning on and on. Shut the fuck up, dude.
See, look there. He was like fatter Larson, and now pull up the other one, the one with the wine.
Yes, he's lost a lot of weight.
He has. Putting in hard work.
He looks like a mob boss in
The only time he's
Slim
Jim. The only time he's heavy now
Slim
is when
Jim.
he puts his fucking
Ivan,
wallet-
maybe if you put the fucking popcorn down and get on the Larson diet.
Okay, Mr. Taco Bell.
As a matter of fact,
how many crave cases have you gotten? All right,
shut the fuck up. As a matter of fact, all 4 of us could probably use the Larson diet.
Oh,
right now.
I've been begging Jim for the diet.
Absolutely.
And that's it. I got nothing else. Purdue's down by 8 here at the half. I got Notre Dame losing on Monday. And Bob Bobson, go fuck yourself. All right. That's what I'll end this with.
Order a crave
Fuck
case right now.
you, Bob Bobson. Fucking Bob.
2 Bobs in one name.
Last name's Bobson, and your parents are like, let's name him Bob. Idiots.
Barb knows how to Barb knows how to bob.
Green Bay, Greg Braggs, he writes.
I didn't think I'd find my new nemesis. It's Bob Bobson.
Put that on his t-shirt.
Can that be our next show? The Bobson and Bragg show?
Bobson?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why not?
Moriano can host it.
I'm praying Notre Dame beats Ohio
Don't do that. Don't do that.
I hate Ohio State.
Enough people like Bob Bobson fucking yelling at me.
Ryan Day.
You, Bob.
I can't even believe it.
All right.
Anyway,
Well,
hopefully the Boilermakers make a comeback. That's what happens in basketball.
That is
9 out of 10 times. So slow your roll.
Only 22 points in the first half, Phil. And as you know, as a great basketball coach that you are, that's not good enough.
Hey, there is some
Get better.
Good breaking NFL draft news, by the way. James Pierce just declared for the NFL draft.
My guy, Greg. I talked to you about him.
Greg's like, who is that?
He knows who he is.
From Tennessee.
I'm gonna have to look up. He's got Adam Hogue's fucking big book. Of
No, don't do that to me. Don't do that to me.
Adam,
this year, no. This
Adam,
year,
do we like this guy? Or
you know what? I'm gonna surprise you.
Leave
Guys.
him alone.
I'm gonna surprise you guys this year with my draft coverage.
Yeah, there's not going to be any phone calls, guys. I got to talk about the draft. So,
Yeah, no, I'm gonna surprise you guys this year with the draft coverage.
what
And then it's
cards? What cards do we like?
Both Penn State backs are going back to college. I did not see
I didn't
that
see that
coming.
coming either. Yeah,
That
I
disappointed.
don't understand that as running backs of the
why are
one
you going
position.
back?
I mean, fuck that.
Especially Singleton. I think he should just go.
Yeah, they're both good.
No, they're both great.
You guys should have been from the Midwest with your Midwestern goodbyes.
Yeah.
Listen, we missed
Oh,
you.
yeah.
And it was a nice surprise. to
Your
see
mom
you.
liked the goodbye I gave to her at the bar we were at.
Greg's
Gotta
still
look.
pissed. You grabbed her ass.
I did, and she whispered to me, and this is true, by the way. Jenny
Oh,
was
here we
right
go.
there.
How many times are we gonna hear this?
She's like, Shane, we could make this happen, but we just can't tell Greg.
It's just so slick and skinny in a hole.
Yeah.
It
was
like Greg on the roof back in the day. I have to
Greg,
tell that story.
it was
one-
so funny. Greg called me at like 3:45.
Yeah.
Because he didn't think I was going to be up. And I'm like, bro, your mom's a fucking vixen. I haven't slept at all.
Jeepers creepers.
Fuck you. Fuck
When
you.
you went to Chicago?
Fuck you, Bob Bobson.
Make sure you were helping him with the
Fuck
fucking
you, Bob Bobson.
He had no faith in me.
He
Greg
didn't?
No, I was up at 4 a.m.
That's Greg going. Greg is gone. Greg is gone.
I love Cherie's mom.
Yes, no Cherie tonight, but I'd still love her and her.
Yes.
Greg
Cherie's-
and Cherie made up. That was huge.
They did. Yeah.
Back
Still
together.
Not sure where we stand with Mr. Carstensen and Mr. Braggs.
Oh,
Still
shit.
still up in the air?
I forgot there was something I really wanted to ask Greg. Is
Angela.
yes. It wasn't that. But I wish Angela was on. That'd be amazing. No, I wanted him to go ahead and pop that pimple on his eye. Right out like my hair.
He
Still
tried.
pimples.
What was the name of the bar we were at, Ivan?
Oh my god, what was it?
Carrie Franklin was there.
Yeah,
Was
where
it that one?
yeah, it was the one down.
It's
Yeah,
on it's on
Was it Michael's? No, it wasn't Michael's. Was it Marshall's? Something. I
Michael's?
can't even remember.
You're
It's
from
on like
Chicago.
Sheridan. I think
Come
it was on
on.
Sheridan. What do you mean?
You gotta remember
a
all
million
this
different fucking restaurants in Chicago.
No, it wasn't
Crossroads.
Crossroads. Is where we ended
Oh,
up.
that's where we hung.
Crossroads, yeah.
No,
that was-
Ivan and
that
I
was the-
started at noon.
Then
that
at the
day.
crossroad.
I
Where's
started
Carrie
at 9.
Franklin anymore?
Shane and I started.
Yeah, I started at noon.
It was by the bowling alley. That's all I remember.
No,
I was a little ways
the
from
pizza
there.
parlor where we were at.
Pizza parlor. What street, Ivan? Maybe someone could help us.
I want to say it was
Tavern
I
style.
want to say it was Sheridan.
Sweet sauce.
It started with an M. Let me look back.
Let me go.
McGlinchey's.
No,
It
let me
could've
look
been
back at
Michael's.
my text message.
Sounds like Michael.
Nobody in the chat is helping.
No one's in the chat has helped. Just Frank. Who the
Yeah.
fuck calls it a pizza parlor? He's still there. He's stressing on Purdue.
Broadway. There it is.
Broadway.
Michael's Original Pizzeria and Tavern. It's on Broadway.
Yeah, so I was right. It was Michael's.
M in this. Fuck. Marshall's.
It wasn't
This was a
Marshall's.
long
Michael's,
title.
right?
Michael's Original. What was it?
Michael's
It was
Original
the sauce was very sweet.
Pizzeria and
on
Tavern.
pizza.
I'm not a big sweet. It can't be too sweet, this sauce. That's why New Haven is the capital of the world in pizza. Of the world. Gotta get Ivan here. I don't know what happened with Carrie Franklin, but it's just an experience.
He dropped. I'll tell you what he did, and thank you for Carrie. He was the one that he paid for all of it.
Wow,
that day, which was
Carrie Franklin.
an awesome gesture. But I had to laugh at him. Were you there when we first got there, Ivan?
Ivan was
And
so
No. I shut up.
You were just a little bit later, yeah, because we walked in and Gary walks right to the staff and he's like, all right, I got this guy from New York and I've been bragging about how good your pizza is. So I need you to do a good job today. the guy I'm like, holy shit, he's dropping the fucking hammer on him.
He's putting the pressure on. The pressure's on the Bears right now with the goddamn coach. How are they going to do it? What are they going to get to? The paralysis analysis crew has they've been pathetic. Keeping people in a lane is impossible with the likes of Dan Orlovsky out there.
Yeah.
Mina Kimes. She should be strictly fantasy football. I just don't understand. I don't know how you allow the flip-floppage of analysis. There has to be some sort of new era and this soundbite shit. These guys, I know they have the big lawsuit with what's this going on Fox with what's his name? Bayless. Is that his name? Skip Bayless and that.
Yeah.
You have all these networks trying to be the loudest, and it's taking away from the game and what it is.
Jeff Meller on Twitter said that Ben Johnson gets a fresh start with a GM pairing with Tom Brady, pulling the strings in Vegas. They just need to figure out quarterback. Just that little
thing. It only took the Bears 50 years to do that. The Raiders will get her. They got Tom there. He'll see a guy in the third round and figure it out. This is not how it works.
Or he won't. Ever.
Quinn Ewers to the Raiders, Shane. Quinn Ewers.
Yeah, there was a lot of talk that he was going to be the next quarterback for Ohio State next year.
I thought he was staying in school myself. Obviously, I don't know what Sark was calling on the fucking goal line there.
Yeah.
I mean, the toss play to the short side at the. Oh my God, these coaches get in these situations. You're at the bro.
The timeout usage.
Oh my God.
Like, oof, man, I don't get it. And I mean,
sorry,
call the timeout right there.
Where is it said that Ben Johnson wants?
He's being sarcastic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Totally
Okay. No, you never know nowadays. Like there's rumors on top of rumors, but yeah, that'd be fucking wild. If he wanted to quit.
Well, just imagine having the number one pick in the draft and you come away. And listen, there's some talent there. I could not do. Imagine being the Tennessee Titans and you draft Cam Ward number one. It's just like, oh man.
Yeah.
Oof. Cam Ward is my number one guy. I like the football player, the talent, but again, Jackson Dart and your guy from Syracuse. Those guys.
Yeah, I mean, there's warts there, but there's no fucking way I'm drafting one of these guys up top.
They're not in. Way. That's why we're so lucky. And obviously the draft class is showing what it is. And I'll just say how pathetic the awards and what have you. It always goes to winning, a team game, but they're never going to put perspective into what Caleb was able to do despite the negligence surrounding him. It's imperative that you become a patron at the Tape Never Lies Network. You're never going to get fed that bullshit. And I'm dead serious. I can go on a fucking tirade about how pathetic it is with stopwatches, real numbers. I did the film work. Are they counting how many sacks Caleb avoided with free runs and missed assignments? No, are they talking about that? Does the stopwatch documenting time of pass account for these things? No, it's all pathetic next gen bullshit analytics with all of these fantasy football gurus who don't understand football and watch tape. And that's why I get so fucking infuriated with the likes of Dan Orlovsky, who are put in position to put that shit to bed. Say, no, let's look at this. This shitty Chris Morgan is terrible. And the Bears offensive line are down to third stringers. And here's Caleb Williams on a shitty team. They fired the coach, hired the wrong OC, should have never kept this coach. And look at the fucking numbers, historic, that he put up on a franchise that was bottoming out after the Washington game. Look what he was able. Is that at all being said out there? No. It's not even looked at appropriately. Then you got the little Nightcrawler crew with the gang. It's pathetic. And I'll tell you what Caleb was able to do just should show you with the whole minutia of shit, what he was able to do with that, what he would be able to do with competence as a coach and an offensive line coach. That's why I get excited. I'm any one of these motherfuckers is a better coach than Matt Eberflus.
And I'll say it again. I don't care about the rookie of the year. My goal, or my idea and my hope that the end goal for this team and this quarterback is Super Bowl championships, is consistent winning. It sucks that the team didn't win enough. In my eyes, that kind of put Caleb definitely out of the mix, and that slow start that he had at the beginning of the year. But nonetheless, you've seen the growth in him. You've seen the fight in him. We all can see the talent. There's so much to be said about how much the lack of coaching, the lack of discipline, the lack of grooming that Caleb went through. It's almost like as if I imagine he was coaching himself on the fly at certain points, because that's what it seemed like. So
with the
the
culture of terrible, Ivan. I don't give a fuck about. I agree with you. I don't give a fuck about the rookie of the year. I care about honest analysis.
Listen, in 2001, Anthony Thomas won Rookie of the Year over LaDainian Tomlinson, and it was strictly based off because the Bears were 13-3 that year.
100%.
Does it mean Anthony Thomas was a better quarter or a better running back? Of course, it doesn't.
The analysis is based on team. How many wins they've had presses somebody up. Well, look, they're winning. Well, that's why we're hiring a new coach. There is zero doubt. And I totally agree with Ivan. There's zero doubt. The goal is championships. That's why I don't give a fuck. If we go out there and he throws 3 touchdowns for 178 yards and we win 35-3, some fucking nerd boy. He only threw 178 yards. Now we're worried about yard. What he's done with this negligence is fucking amazing, to be honest.
One other thing that I think we need to bring up from the St. Brown podcast with Caleb, and some people can say that this does not matter. I think it was important that, people are like, Caleb's going to bounce out of here just as quick as he can. They were asking him specifically what he wants in the head coach. And he's like, I want a guy that I can pair up with for the next 15, 17, 19 years.
100%.
And he's not talking about, he's telling you here, that's what he wants.
100%. I think he's driven.
And if you have any morsel of doubt about you're just simply not even talking about that. Yeah, I would love to be paired up with a guy that, makes sense for us on offense, blah, 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 whatever. but he's thinking long term.
He's thinking long term because he cared. No, Bears control him for 5 years or more.
Oh,
don't
not,
even get it twisted.
It's not or more. It's 4 year standard rookie contract, fifth year option, and then you can franchise him for another 3 after that. And it's not going to get to that.
Never going to get to that. But that's the point that he's just going to leave. Sorry, bro. That's not how it works. And I also want to address this. Shea Snorling again. It's my favorite show. So when I hear Shea say something, I'm like, oh my fuck. You can't feed the meatballs, bro.
But Phil,
when you're talking that he's on he admits he got duped with the fucking catfish and these fucking kids. And I wasn't paying attention. I was playing the game. Well, guess what? It's the fucking off season, and he is playing a video game.
Oh yeah,
like
that is
95% of America and kids his age are playing. What should he be out at the fucking pickleball courts, Shay? Playing pickleball, going through tape, cutting it up. Come on. Don't even.
The only thing that I would have done different than that, I would have gotten a hold of somebody at Hallis Hall before I texted another player. Hey, is this?
I agree with all of that. He fucked up. He should.
Yeah.
But Shay, I was saying, was pointing out, oh my God, are we having another? What's his name out in Arizona?
Let's see if Shay's got a fucking Xbox or a PS5 at home.
Exactly.
I guarantee he does.
That's what I'm saying. Be better than that. You started to highlight what I would say 30% of these meatball fans. Now you fed them. Now they're gonna run with. He's playing video. He should be watching his tape.
I'll say this. Because of that, because there was a problem, right? People were bringing it up as it being a serious problem in Arizona. I'm not talking about Caleb right now. I'm talking about that story with Kyler Murray in Arizona. Right. But give me a second. So for me, I'm cool with him playing a fucking video game on his off time. You need to go ahead and kind of separate yourself a little bit. My thing is knowing when and where to go ahead and separate that, from your work. Like when do you need to go ahead and put in that extra time and put away the fucking game? Like that shouldn't be, and yes, he's young, but you're the number 1 fucking pick in the draft. You're fucking wanting to be great. You're talking about being great. You have the talent to be great. Nothing should be distracting you to the point where it's an issue from football, your craft. So yeah, he deserves to go ahead and have some off time. He can play the fucking video game if you want. But if it becomes an issue to where it's interfering with him being like, all right, maybe I should go ahead and take that next step as a professional and stay up later or stay in the film room later. That's something that needs to be. That's something that he needs to grow out of or learn how to manage his time a little bit better if that's the issue.
Yeah, and I mean, if you listen to I don't know if you did listen to the entire thing, Ivan, but he went on there and said, he's like, guys, I don't go out. It's rare for me to go out. I'm, at home and doing that whole thing. And you did hear about the, Shane Waldron saying that he's calling him at, whatever 1 o'clock in the morning and asking specifically about plays. But I think also along that, it's just a natural maturation process for these guys. I
don't understand. I am the opposite of what you're stating. Ivan's talking about. It's the off season. This kid got a prank ball. I'm playing fucking video games
about it.
I have zero problem with him playing the video game.
All I'm saying
get away from this minutia of this bullshit.
If you're in,
I have no problem with that.
Even during the season, right? Like if you want to decompress, you want to go ahead and say, all right, the day is done. Play the game, man. That's fine.
I was upset with Shay.
My issue is
feeding meatballers.
Right, but my thing is when it does become an issue,
doesn't matter here, right? Like I was confronting Shay, comparing him to the quarterback in Arizona who was doing this in season.
So what I'm saying
please don't tell me we got another Why am I drawing a blank with this kid?
Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray, that he's going to be. Shay, it's the fucking off season.
I
He's
think
playing
a
video game.
I think he was more so trying to just be fucking funny and witty.
Yeah, but I think that feeds this.
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
but
but people take
everyone's
that literal.
still-
It's just like you got.
Like this guy.
Yeah,
What are we-
nobody's saying that.
I'm
at
all for it, bro. Take a break. Even in the season, I have always believed, I tell the kid, you need to watch football. You need to watch the NFL. You need to watch college. It's going to translate. And then in your spare, you need to take a break, whether it be you're doing art class, you love video games. Video games, to Ivan's point, that's correct. It has to be a scheduled thing. Like, okay, I've done all of my part. I need to get a break from this. Playing this game does that. I think it's hypocritical. I'm 51 years old. I grew up on video games. Like, I love video games. Even as a coach, I would say, okay, I got to get out of it. And I go play fucking what is it? Chartered. What was it? Uncharted. That shit would take my mind off of shit that I was dealing with. It's an escape. I'm good with that. You can't just go to escape and never come back to the job. And that I agree with. But here in the offseason, don't throw Kyler Murray's drama on top of Kale. It just creates an environment of piling on. I just don't like that at all. Thank you for the button smashing. Smash the like button. Subscribe to the channel. We have a plethora of shows and opinions and analysis. Jacob Daniels, $4.99. I don't know if I could trust Brian Flores over a young QB who needs to develop. I fear his relationships with his prior offensive coordinators. I get it. That's going to be out there. That's an unknown based on what came out. I don't agree with you there. I think, how do you grow? By getting another shot, by owning your mistake. Those things are what he did. So I believe in the guy, the man. So we'll see. But I get where you would have your fear. I look at his tape, watching him, his defense with the Vikings versus the Bears versus the Lions versus the Packers versus these teams, and I just see such great preparation and teaching going on. They're the reason that football team is winning. It wasn't the offense. It's kind of disguised in there. So many short fields, so many turnovers, so many 3rd and 6s, blitzed, putting a ball into the fucking dirt. He's creating more offensive opportunities for their offense based on how he's teaching these guys to play. I mean, and he's done that consistently. He's good at it. Vic Fangio. We witnessed that. We fucking witnessed that. That team for the Bears that was a fucking double doink away from maybe going to the Super Bowl with a shitty head coach is because they had a great defensive coordinator. That's why defense wins championships isn't just said as a cliche. There's a reason why it's there. He's also going to believe in running the football. Every coach on my list, and even a lot of people are sleeping on Monken. You know, that guy's ability and qualified, he also fits the personality that I want. Shane actually joked with Cap and me about he'll be up at the presser dropping more F-bombs than Phil. And that'll make the if that's the reason why you don't hire this guy, that's another pathetic strike in the McCaskey basket. So Monken, I believe, how he interviews, like, I'm not sitting here worried, oh my God, we're going to lose out on Ben Johnson because Dan Orlovsky and all these. I just hope they get it right. That's what I'm worried about. That's what I'm
Benjamin Hooper, $4.99. Curious who your guys MVP. $2
better off dead. He loved that. $2, Ivan.
It's
$2.
Yeah, I mean,
MVP of the year.
Yeah, but I mean, Lamar Jackson's
well,
numbers are just bonkers.
I
mean,
gotta go with Josh Allen.
You go.
Josh Allen's done with that team.
Yeah. But have you seen Lamar's interceptions?
Yeah, another guy that's been so.
They're all tip passes, all four of them. It's crazy.
He's having a year.
41 touchdowns, 4 picks, and all 4 of them are off tip
Did
passes.
they decide the MVP? They play this weekend, right?
Buffalo versus Baltimore in Buffalo. Yeah.
Oh my God. Is that the definition or the defining moment for who's MVP?
Well, but this is a classic case of why the AFC, that it's a super tough pathway to success.
Yeah. I don't look like, again, the weakest division in football. Are we watching what he did versus great teams?
Have you seen his numbers in his career? I mean, stop.
I'm old enough to remember Greg Gabriel attacking me for having him as the number 1 ranked quarterback in that draft, as Shane could tell you.
Yeah. Doyle Collette, $5. May have missed it. What's your thoughts on Joe Brady?
We have not talked about Joe Brady.
Yeah, and he's
it's a great segue, Shane.
He's got a
Josh Allen
direct connection to Caleb at the quarterback collective, and well, this will piss off a lot of people. His agent is Trace Armstrong. Yeah.
I wonder what Trace Armstrong's doing now, like now that the cat or the curtain has been pulled.
He doesn't give a fuck, bro. He's a power fucking agent. You know, the dude's.
Has he done an interview at all?
He doesn't need to, Phil. He's worth so much. He's a fucking power agent, man. He was. Guess who Mike McCarthy's agent was until not too
He's
long
like,
ago.
fuck that. I want the Bears job.
Trace Armstrong was his agent. Now it's
Don
Yee.
Don Yee.
That was Dick.
I haven't heard that name in a long time.
Since Dick Duran, right?
Don Yee.
Yeah. But I mean,
Don Yee, motherfucker.
Brady's very interesting. I think he's the youngest candidate. I think he's only like 35. He's younger than Ben Johnson is.
How old is Ben?
38.
And how old is Marcus Freeman?
Just turned 39 a couple of days ago. Yeah.
So yeah, I think Joe Brady is the youngest.
Yeah, I think he's like 35 or 36. You know, he's done a great job there in Buffalo.
LSU.
And people are like, oh well, you know, he's got Josh Allen. So you got to be skeptical.
Everyone was saying Josh Allen sucks when he came out. He's built this offense. He took over for the other offensive coordinator that
still
sucked.
got to call the plays. Yeah, I mean,
he doesn't have a lot of weapons there.
Oh no, they got rid of a lot of them, but their running game is cranked up, and
he loves to run the ball. Yeah. I love the design power QB plays. I mean, he's taking advantage.
Sure.
Of his quarterback. Listen, how many run design plays did Caleb have this year? I would say none.
Yeah, not.
Imagine pulling him out and letting him.
Like a handful towards the end of the year when they realize, hey, maybe we should do that, but not very many.
Bear Down Omaha, $2. It's not all on Mitch. I think that was a shout out.
We wanted Greg to say
Greg.
it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Omaha. Ken Dorsey he replaced. That's right. Yep. Ken Dorsey also got fired again. I'm sorry I hit.
Yeah. Mike, $4.99. McCarthy is a win now move with playoff expectations year 1. Johnson could take a few years to figure it out. Huge. You
can't predict.
I don't think you can look at it that way. I mean,
I don't agree that the Bears are so far away. This is going to take 3 years. It ain't going to
Look at what everybody was saying about Houston a couple of years ago.
That
ownership is toxic. You know, no quarterback. Right.
McNair. Oh my God, that's right.
Yeah,
You
I
had the
mean,
Deshaun Watson shit.
all of that. Yeah,
They
that dude's
turned it around. They got a quarterback. They got a real head coach who's a defensive head coach, Shane.
right.
I don't know if you know that.
I do.
Defense, you got to hire offense. No, they got a rookie quarterback playing his ass off with a defensive head coach.
I hear you.
He came down to earth a little bit this year, but stepped it up last week. Do you think they get bounced this weekend? The Chiefs?
No, I don't.
You think the Texans are going to win?
No, you said, do you think the Chiefs are going to get bounced? And I said, no.
No, I meant, do you think Houston's going to get bounced with the Chiefs?
I'm not. But I ain't taking the fucking Texans over the Chiefs. No fucking way. I think there's an interesting case to be made for the Rams versus Philly.
No, that's going to be a game. Ivan, you still there?
He's doing push-ups in the background.
One of the fans asked about Saquon Barkley not MVP? Not Barkley?
No.
Hell no.
Oh. It's quarterback league.
I would have given Barkley MVP if he played that last game and went out there to try to break the record.
But I understand. I understand Philly's philosophy on that because I mean, yeah, Jalen Hurts banged up. Jalen didn't look that great. Well, Jesus Christ, with some not much time left in the third quarter, he had 39 passing yards. Jalen Hurts. And I mean, but that's the thing that
Rams are fucking Stafford is playing ball right now.
Yeah, he's slinging it.
Oh my God.
He's definitely
I hated
slinging it.
That should have been a fucking intentional grounding.
Yeah.
That was pathetic. Pathetic by the NFL. I was embarrassed. There was zero shot that he's trying to hit. He's throwing it on the ground to avoid a sack. It's the definition of intentional grounding. I felt bad. Like, I'm not rooting for the Vikings, but I just hate that kind of shit. Hate it. I'd like to see Houston win with bullets, but I don't think they could do it.
No, I don't think so either.
Rams, though, that's a tough shot. I got Notre Dame winning, Shane, the national championship.
Oh, I think that they kind of, like I said, you and I talked about it a little bit, and I know they went down, they went down 10, but I think I think Ohio State is better than Penn State. I think they're more explosive. If they get down a couple of touchdowns, I'm just not a huge believer in Riley Leonard. If you have to put the ball in his hands and have him pass and take you down the field repeatedly, that's going to be the biggest thing. But can Notre Dame win it? Fuck yeah, they can. I mean, they're about as physical as a football team as you're gonna see, and you can see that they're bought in.
Right? Did you see Riley Leonard's basketball highlights?
No, I didn't.
This motherfucker, he could ball. It reminded me of watching Josh McCown.
Yeah, well,
like he's throwing fucking down. I mean, he's
look up Cooper DeJean from the.
I saw his too. Yeah. But physical, I'm serious. Riley Leonard could be a serious fucking threat at tight end. I mean, this kid is an athlete. They have to do a lot of design runs with him, counter off of it, half field, get the freaking movement. But I was impressed with Riley. He made some big throws.
Yeah, but I think there's a step up.
Oh, this is
competition
big
to
game.
Ohio
big
State.
Game.
Yeah, it is. So
45. Los, I'm checking in on you, Los, in Los Angeles. Hopefully everything's okay out there for you, bro. And
Absolutely.
anybody root calling in, checking in here at TTNL, if you're living over in California, hopefully you're all doing well. And prayers up to all those people dealing with that craziness. Are the fires still burning there, Shane?
Yeah.
Still. Jesus.
It's a bad deal. That's for
Grady's got 27-16. 27-16. Robert Nash, 24-20 Notre Dame. There he is. We talked about him.
Carey.
24-17. We were talking about you earlier. Carey calling out Notre Dame. Look at Bullets is afraid. Bullets is not going to put a score. And I wanted Ivan on the record. He fucking bounced.
He's nervous.
Boy, Ivan. Is he
nervous.
nervous?
Yeah. So,
Ohio State.
Yeah.
There
Well,
he is.
Ohio.
Logan giving him a 1 point. Oh, there he is. Mo, 30-7.
Wow.
There's Bullets putting his name to it. 34-20.
We love you too, Carey. We were praising you earlier. That's right. But what it comes down to, Phil, who is going to be
good
the Bears head coach? Come on.
Who is it
Asking
going to
you
be?
one question. Gut instinct. Next head coach of the Chicago Bears. 1, 2, 3, go.
Mike McCarthy.
Mine is Ben Johnson.
That's my gut.
Who's it going to be? We'll see.